Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff, and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat? And now you'll all realise exactly what the clue was that held the end of the month show together. It was Sansom with the intros, with the music, with the thumbnails. Because the 1 week that he doesn't do it, you get the cats. But there you go. With no further ado, I'll welcome my friend and regular co-host, Mr. Sansom Communion. What about you, chum?
Hello, mate. Hello, everybody. If anybody's just jumped over from William's channel, hope to find it well. Yeah. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, doing very good. And thank you for coming on. And Sansom is just over from this previous stream. What I'm going to do now is go to my other good friend, Mr. Paka, and we'll have a quick chat and give Sansom a bit of time to gather himself from the previous stream. Mr. Paka, what about you, chum?
I'm all good. How are you? How is everybody? Good evening, everyone. Hope we're all having a good weekend.
Yes, it is. And we've even got the nice weather, which is good. It's nice, sunny, long, bright days. I'm loving it. It's still semi-daylight here in Belfast.
I went out for a drive today. I live in the wilds of Lincolnshire, and it was fucking beautiful.
Nice rolling countryside.
Yeah, just rolling fields as far as you can see.
Lovely. That is nice. Right, I'm going to put comments up on the screen. As you know, whenever I have guests on, I don't tend to go through everybody and say hello individually because it breaks up the flow. But I will put your names up on the screen. And the wonderful sexy Emma G was in first.
Emma G, what about you, chum?
No. That was last week whenever I got all tongue-tied. And made an absolute fuck up. That's what I did. I made a fuck up. And after saying hello to the wonderful Emma G, I carried on with my stream thing. And, it is what it is. We'll live and we'll learn. If that's the worst pickle I've ever got myself into, I won't worry. Other than that,
I've never said anything stupid online. What about you, Sansom?
I don't think I've said anything. I don't think I've said anything sensible online. To be honest with you, I'm the inverse. You know me. Oh dear me. Yeah. Oh, it's the reason why I'm here. I'm on. You know, people said, you know, you're away for months. We don't see you. And then you're like old dog shit on a white carpet. You're everywhere. And I'm like, I was just on William's channel with Toffee. That was a good laugh. Have a listen to that, Badger. That was a good one. On William's channel, That's Life But Not As We Know It. I'm on here now, and I suppose I better do the de rigueur housekeeping because if you couldn't get enough of me,
I've got a guess. Would this involve Ragnar Arnspear and Jack London tomorrow evening?
Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Rags and Jack will have me on as their special guest. Now, normally when they have a special guest on, it's because they are special. However, in my case, it's because they, I'm a bit of a downy. I'm the downy guest. That's the special. Like when somebody says Johnny's no spastic, he's just got special legs. I'm fucking special in that way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And also, because I don't know if he's going to turn up tonight. He may or may not. I don't know. You can tell me, 42. But for the more discerning YouTuber, I always recommend watching Waffle Dave's house. Yeah. However, if you're not, then you can tune into Dave's Waffle House Monday to Fridays at 8:30. And I've missed all of them this week. I tell you what, I've been busier than a fucking Ukrainian arsonist this week. Fucking.
Those Ukrainian arsonists seem to get everywhere. It seems like
too soon.
Yeah, it seems like the emphasis is on the start of that word. Arson. Arson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Whereas I'll get my face on the internet about as much as a Ukrainian rent boy.
Yeah. Dame Neil Starlin, crafty butcher.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
yeah, they're grinder.
Sense of no one's looking there. We're not looking there, okay? Stop looking.
No,
Nothing to see there. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. It's
They're
all
grinder.
its fault.
Their grinder profile says, "Invite me to your party, I'll go down a bomb."
Have you not had a bunch of Ukrainian rent boys randomly running around burning shit you used to own? Has it never happened to you?
Funny you mention that. No.
No, it's completely random.
So you'd find that odd then?
Yeah, I would find that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
I've got this weird notion that whenever people start running about burning your stuff and trying to kill you, you generally done something to piss them off first. It tends to go in that pattern.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say you got your day like the same thing?
You might want.
I don't think that our prime minister is gay, but his boyfriend certainly is.
Probably, yeah. He might be bi-curious.
His wife's not very happy.
Yeah. Well, there's a new research coming, hasn't there? Pew Research Centre that says that most women tend to watch programs with subtitles on these days. Yeah.
I'm telling you, his wife's getting blisters on her pelvic mound with a fucking strap on.
Yeah. So most women watch programs with subtitles now. Apparently, it's because they never fucking listen. But anyway,
Oh fuck!
Shh! I didn't say you know me. I'm just here for the shits and giggles, guys. Don't fucking hold it against me. Unless it's tits. You can hold it. No. We're not gonna. No, this is not the Bernard fucking Manning show. Come on, be more civilized.
Well,
I'll tell you what. I got a cracker of a video. I might even turn the sound off because you don't need the sound. But I've got a cracker of a video that I reckon you in particular, Packer. I reckon you'll. And it's not a fucking jokey one, is it? It's deadly serious. And I saw this fucking video and I thought, oh man, that looks mint. Now, if it was me, well, I'll explain if it was because I'll put it this way, it wouldn't happen if it was me. But this video, it's absolutely mint. It's the most mint. I thought to myself, yeah, that's exactly how I imagined, all this bullshit when we talk about technology and what the future might hold and that, yeah? There's a video here, right? Straight up video. And I thought, yeah, that's fucking, yeah.
Right. Let's see it.
Oh, do you want it now? Okay.
Yeah.
This is mint. Honestly, this is...
Put us out of our misery.
Yeah. This is absolute fucking mint.
It's up my
Right,
street,
tell
is
me-
it?
Yeah. Well, it's up my. Well, I reckon you'll appreciate it. Tell me when you've got it shared, mate.
Yep, it should be up now.
I might duck the sound out. I'll tell you what, let me put on full screen. This is mint. Look at that. This is real. I'll just duck the sound a bit there, yeah. This is Darth Maul, isn't it? Fucking look at that. That is mint. Look at that.
What is it?
It's a fucking hover bike. Real one.
What?
Yeah.
It's like the things those Ewoks had.
Yeah. Better duck the sound just in case. But look at that. That's fucking mint.
For every single nerd that ever bought any kind of Star Wars helmet but never had a reason to wear it,
Oh,
Yep.
man. The
get
problem
yourself
is,
one of them.
I'd need to strap 4 together if I want, like a Roman fucking horse
Like a
rider. You
rat.
know what I mean? One horse either leg. You know what I mean? Isn't that mint though? Look at that.
This is amazing, Samson, because not only is that mint, it actually ties in the content I've got.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh man. Hey Packer, you're not impressed, mate? That's fucking mint, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want one.
Oh man.
The road boy one.
Can you imagine? I mean, I'd need to lose about 20 stone, then I might get a ride, but fuck me, that looks mint. Look at it. It's just like great. This is not CGI. This is actual real. Oh, tell you now. Well, I don't know if you want to watch any more, but I'll put a bit more music on. Good music as well. You get yeeted. I do that kind of music. Hey, I probably did the music now. Oh, I've got a little tale. Oh, yeah, I've got a little tale to tell you about that with fucking music.
That
Me.
is fucking amazing.
I mean, it's a bit sanitised because they've had to fly in a place where there's not a lot of traffic going around and all that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, just like
Yeah,
driving.
the farmers
you're
aren't going to like it,
fucking
are they?
idiots. You what, mate?
The farmers aren't going to like it, are they? You going across
Well,
his field of wheat doing that, he's not going to be impressed.
Well, unless the crop spraying for him, you know.
I mean, the crop circles that will appear, they will be amazing, but
Yeah, that's just fucking mint, isn't it? Anyway, I'll stop there. But what do you think, lads? That's just great, isn't it?
Right. That's amazing. Now, a couple of things. First one is, see, this all links together. Dave Waffle House, who you mentioned earlier, I can tell you that he is in possession of the link and may or may not arrive. It was left with him that he's got the link, and if he can come in, he's going to come in. So we'll do that shout out every weeknight at 8:30. Dave's Waffle House. Get your ducks in the goddamn duck race and win yourself a prize off the Wheel of Doom. It's really easy. It's really good fun. Get involved. Get a duck. Quack, quack, quack. Dave, as you know, is a sky watcher. I'm going to stick a wee pin in that. I'll do my other two shout-outs that I like to do. Is Robin, Courage is a Cure, Australian girl, does shows about all the madness that's going on. You'll get that from an Australian perspective. She's on all the platforms. And the other show I'd like to shout out is RPW Media. That's Rich, brother of Jimmy from Philly, that most of you scrubs know. Does really good content. And is going to be next month's guest on the End of the Month show. So get yourself over to him. And as you know, Dave of the Waffle House is famed for being a sky watcher. Now, see if you're up in the sky, you know, in a 747 and stuff, would you expect to see a Chinaman and a microlight?
No. Was it like James Bond?
Oh yeah, right. Hold on, I get our first bit of content up. You're going to like this. The Chinese Flyboy.
Was it Odd Job?
No, check this out. If I can get. Oh yeah, right. Present. Share screen. Oh yeah. Check this out. Actually, I should check it. No, that hasn't come up. Right.
Down, up, right, left, inside, out. Sometimes it's hard to make sense from nonsense. The Economist goes beyond the headlines.
This is ITV.
More than
This is
news,
fucking
a
advertisement, by the way.
trusted global
And there's
perspective.
no way to skip it.
The Economist. Know which way is up.
Yeah. They're not going to tell you. Check this out.
No oxygen mask and ice clinging to his eyebrows. This is the unbelievable sight of Peng Yujiang cruising above the clouds, battling temperatures of around minus 40 degrees Celsius, tens of thousands of feet in the sky.
The worst thing would be the disorientation, because it's not just the height, it's the fact that he will have been inside a thundercloud. So it's quite likely to have been icing, hailing on him, that kind of thing. You can probably imagine, it's pretty dark, it's very wet, it's freezing cold, and you're struggling to get your breath.
Peng achieved the death-defying feat by accident. He says he was testing new equipment at the Tilian mountain range in northern China. But shortly into his practice, he was sucked into the sky, drawn up at 30 feet a second, reaching an astonishing 28,000 feet. That's almost as high as many commercial flight paths, and just short of Mount Everest. But Peng's flight didn't quite match the world record set by German paraglider Eva Wisniewska in 2007. She was propelled more than 32,500 feet by a similar but rare cloud suck in Australia.
The glider kept climbing, and I couldn't see anything. Then it got dark. I was already shaking, all wet, all instruments was frozen.
Peng's now been banned from paragliding in China for 6 months because he didn't get approval from local air traffic control before taking off. But after his accidental dabble with the extremes, he's probably more than happy to stick to solid ground. Charlie Frost, ITV News.
No.
I never want to do it again.
No.
Oh, please ban me for life.
Now, basically, this news article, I'm not going to read through it all, but that's what it's saying. Now, there has been a bit of doubt put onto this, and I'll explain why I think there's a bit of doubt. But yes, this guy here that spoke about the guy that was on, talked about him being inside the clouds and all. If I take this to about here, I've got questions like
Minus 40 degrees Celsius, tens
That's
of
it.
thousands of feet in the sky.
The worst
see that bit where he was floating away from the camera?
Yeah, who's
Who the
filming
fuck
that?
was filming that? Well, could the person was up there with whatever they were in? Could they not have helped them down? And do those paragliders not have a thing that you can put on that gives you?
Why were they just floating there filming him on their phone instead of calling 911?
So I am a little bit dubious about that one. Although, you know the way they say it, the Chinese always have a cheap, the Chinese are a copy and a fake and an imitation.
Yep.
Well, there was an American that definitely did something very similar. I could, Guinness Book of World Records. I'll get this one up. because it's on the same vein of thought. Yeah. StreamYard present. This is an American guy. With his deck chair and weather balloons. On Friday, the 12th of July, yes, the glorious 12th, Larry Walters tied 42 helium-filled weather balloons to his lawn chair and prepared for takeoff. Aided by a ground crew of his girlfriend and some buddies, Larry, armed with a sandwich, a cold beer, and a BB gun, prepared for a leisurely ascent above Los Angeles. Thereupon which he'd slowly float over the Mojave Desert before landing back home. Instead, the rope holding his makeshift flight apparatus snapped, and Larry shot 16,000 feet in his chair Force One. And by the time he found his way back to ground, he landed himself a unique spot in American aviation history and the record books for the highest altitude reached by a chair attached to balloons. He was always fascinated by balloons, Larry said. And when I was about 8 or 9, he was taken to Disneyland. The first time when he walked in, there was a lady holding what seemed like a zillion Mickey Mouse balloons. And went, why?
Does it say how much he beat the previous record by?
No, there is no previous record. He started it. Now, there is.
Well, he went a little bit overboard, is all I'm saying, you know.
Yeah. Now there is an interview with him here. Where is it? Yeah. Do you want to hear the man speak for himself about it?
Yes.
Definitely want to see his face.
Oh.
Yeah, Chair Force One is pretty good.
Yeah.
Dottie?
Can't see him, mate, if you're sharing it.
Is he still there?
I don't know.
He's got it in another room.
This guy here brought in Chair Force One. It's going to be great, folks. It's the greatest aviation.
Oh fuck! That holy good fuck! That hadn't even. This new way of this thing working is doing my fucking head in.
Yeah. Was that going well up until that moment, 42?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Sorry. We
I lost my glasses. Come on, cut him down. You gotta come down if you can't see. Cut him down. I got my other glasses. I can see perfectly. Don't worry. Is everything okay? Everything's A-okay. Notify all the proper authorities, etc. I'm headed towards, I can see Marine Line right now. Oh, you can see Marine Line. So you're heading toward, oh my God, you're going towards the ocean already. Okay, here. Have you called up? Okay, have you, if you get towards the ocean, land over by Marine. Wait, I'm stuck.
there you go. You get the idea. There's a bit of him having an interview. I'm going to play a little bit of that. But what's your initial thoughts on this lunatic?
He sounds like your average dad, right? When shit's hitting the fan and the family is panicking, and he's like, "No, everything's fine. Don't worry. I'll be back in a bit."
Yeah.
this is a phenomenal thing. Where did you get the idea to do this? When did it hit you? You said it was a 20-year dream.
Yes, sir. It hit me when I was a young boy, about 13 years old. I was in an Army Navy surplus store. Saw a weather balloon dangling from the ceiling. And I just got the idea to inflate these balloons. And I figured if I had enough of them, it'd lift me. The idea was just, the float.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by it, and I fulfilled the 20-year dream.
Have you done anything else in attempting to make your dream come true before now?
Well, the main thing I did at the urging of an associate, Ron Richland, who also, that tape you saw, he's the man responsible for it. I'm sorry, both he and my fiancee, Carol Van Duzen, who put up the money for the entire project, could not be here. But at his urging, I took a parachute course, and I had a very good parachute on, very reliable, and I was prepared. And at one time, I was thinking of actually using it at 16,000 feet.
What kind of planning goes into this? Because when you say you hook balloons to a lawn chair, it doesn't sound, like...
First of all...
Like Neil Armstrong probably wouldn't be involved there.
The thing is, I call it American ingenuity.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, sir. And you heard the audio tapes. I had confidence in myself, in the craft, and I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I really knew what I was doing.
Now, when you took off there, you actually lifted off prematurely, didn't you?
Yes, sir. The idea was to be tethered at 100 feet for approximately an hour, and about a half hour before launch, we were going to notify FAA and a few airports and let them know this lawn chair was going up with all these balloons, right? But unfortunately, which is on the tape, the tether line broke prematurely, and that's when my whole ground crew panicked. And
now, why did it break?
There was no one to take the slack up on it. It was a 550-pound test nylon line, and the wind was blowing rather strong over the, just above the, about maybe the first couple hundred feet. And it just took that cluster up and me in it and snapped that line. And we have it on tape and film, and it sounded like a gunshot when that line snapped.
How many balloons did you have?
Approximately 43, sir.
And they were filled with?
Helium gas.
Helium. Was that an estimate? Were you just guessing that 43 would get you up?
Oh, no. We had done much prior testing prior to this. We had test inflations. We knew that each balloon would lift approximately 14 to 15 pounds. And so we just multiplied that. And,
now, is it expensive to get that much helium?
Well, like I say, Carol, she financed it. She bought all the gas. And anyway, the gas and the balloons came to $3,000. And she bought my parachute for me. Thank God bless her. And that was another $800, and she went heavily into debt to see my dream come true.
I read a figure this afternoon that said the whole project cost around $15,000.
That is correct, because we were going to originally go from the Mojave Desert, and it was Carol's idea to launch from her backyard. Only because there was a hospital about a half mile down the road.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Now, once you went up, what was your means of controlling the lift or descending or?
Okay, I had complete control of the craft, and we have tapes, audio tapes. Yes, I did. I had complete control of my craft, and I mean, even when the line snapped, and I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But I had complete control of the craft. I had an altimeter right under my chin, and it was showing me my rate of ascent. And I had several hundred pounds of water ballast. And so what happened was I was trying to catch an easterly wind current. And when I went to 16,000 feet, I knew I couldn't go up much higher. I'd be a dead man. So I got my BB pistol, which I was going to tether. I was going to strap that on at my last hour of preparation with a few other instruments. And anyway, I got my BB pistol, shot out about 10 or 12 of the balloons, slowed my rate of ascent. So I was rising about 1,000 feet per minute. That was much too fast.
And you just shot the balloons out, and that caused you to come down?
Well, it was carefully. I shot the outer balloons out first. I knew what I was doing.
No, but there's so many questions I could ask you about this because, as you said, you really had most of the variables controlled. But why a lawn chair?
American ingenuity. Why not a lawn chair?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the best. Believe me, I looked at baskets, and I looked at gondolas, sir, and the lawn chair was the best suited means.
Yeah. Was it just one of those folding kind that you
No, and I'm not going to mention the department store where I got it at anymore. It's gotten too much free publicity.
Yeah.
But now, I put it through my own torture test. I mean, it went through the Larry torture test.
Yeah.
And it survived that, and I knew it could fulfill my dream.
What happened What happened when you contacted the Los Angeles International Airport, or your friend on the ground contacted?
Okay, my friend. First of all, when he told him, he says, "You're not going to believe this. But there's a guy up there in a lawn chair with 43 balloons.
Love our conversation.
Oh, really? And we got this on tape and audio. But he said, "You're not gonna believe." Everyone was panicking because this was totally unexpected. The cable snapping.
You were actually also seen by other aircraft.
I was spotted evidently by Delta and a TDWA flight at 16,000 feet.
16,000 feet. This is truly amazing. And we're going to pause, and Larry will be back here with us, and we'll continue discussing this man's out.
I'm going to take that, edit that. There you go.
But this is the kind of shit we used to get up to before we were cotton wool, weren't we? You know what I mean? Before the fucking cotton wool bubble wrap fucking generation, and the state was inveigled by health and safety into the nth degree. You know, back in these days now, if somebody tried that, yeah, and they ended up being a greasy mark on the side of a cliff somewhere, they'd try and sue the fucking balloon maker, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous these days. Back in those days, you were like, sort of, yeah, well, I'm taking like Evel Knievel, like fucking 40 bones in one jump. Yeah, well, it was my ride. He didn't blame fucking Harley Davidson or whoever made the bike, did he? Do you know what I mean? But nowadays, it'd be like, oh, if that bike had been better, I'd have been... Because nobody has any accountability anymore, do they? It's like kryptonite to these fuckers, especially Gen Z, soft bastards. No Gen Z in the chat here, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you got to take accountability for your actions and a little bit of risk. It's just
a whole load of when I was a kid, honest to God, right, there was a bank where we were. I was in Stoke, and it was called Macca's Bank, yeah? And the reason why it was called Macca's Bank is because there was a youth who used to have a motorbike called Macca, and he was the first lad who managed to ride up the side of this hill, because it was like a 1 in 2, it was fucking steep as out. But he managed to ride his scrambler up it. So from that point on, because he christened it, it was Macca's Bank. So we used to do all sorts, we used to get like, old bloody Walker's crisp boxes, cardboard, and when it was middle of summer and the grass was like fucking white, it was that hot and baked, we used to slide down the fucker, on your arse, like, like 3 millimeters of cardboard between you and certain pants ruin going down the side of the Mac. But it was great. We used to get down the bottom, couldn't wait to get back to the top and do it again. And then when it was snowing, you used to have your sledges, boof, straight down there. And then when it was in between, we used to all fucking ride our bikes down. We couldn't ride our bikes up because they were only pedal bikes, but we used to ride the fuckers down it. And years later was when my dad died, actually. Sorry, excuse me. I went back there, and because my dad was still in the same house where I was born and bred.
Oh, let me take a guess. Have they turned the bottom of that hill into marshland?
No, not then, but it has now. It's all it's basically what they call rewilding, which is basically council are too fucking lazy to keep it trim and proper. Do you know what I mean?
You're not going to believe this. There's a very similar hill close to where I live, beside a housing estate. And this hill for years and years and years has got this one single track down it at the steepest part where everybody for years went down on their bikes. But it was fine because there was a long bit of grass to run out on and lose your speed.
That's exactly what this was like,
yeah. Oh, the bottom of it is now flooded. It's wet marshland. Fuck all to do with the environment to stop us going down there on our bikes.
Can I tell you mine now?
Yeah.
Right, mine was an actual road. I lived on an Edwardian estate in Ilford, and there was a park. And one of the roads down to this park just went down a hill, down towards a park gate, and then stopped. There was a curb and pavement.
Yeah.
And then there was the width of the pavement, which was two of them big old council slabs wide, and then there was iron railings, gates, and brick pillars.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but this road just went down to that and stopped, right? And people didn't drive down it because of that. So we used to go down it on our go-karts and things like that, and in winter on sleds and things. But we ran the risk of get it wrong and you hit the railings or the bricks.
Yeah. Well, that's
and it's still there. I looked at it on Google, Google whatever it is, and it's still there. I went down the road.
Yeah, we used to do all sorts. But like I say, when I went back, so I thought I'll have a walk down the line. We used to call it the line. I'll have a walk down the line. And I'd walk down the line, and there was like, do you know, like in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where they see the big that mountain thing where the fucking beastie's going to turn up, Devil's Tower or whatever it's called. Well, when you look at that, it's like, oh, steep fucker, we won't be able to get up there. But if you go around the back, there's like a nice gentle go up the side bit. Well, that was the same as Macca's Bank. So I go up the side bit and I stand over the edge looking down on this thing, and I thought, fucking hell. We must have been absolutely mental. But when you're a kid, you just don't... Well, in that day and age, pre-fucking anti-social media and all that bullshit, it was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be mint. That'll be mint. You're there and you grifter, or even worse, a chopper, and it's like, yeah, that's going to be mint. We'll do that. And it's like, boom, straight down it.
Yeah, because that wee small front wheel on the chopper doesn't go out completely into every little divot that you hit on the way down.
I had a butcher's bike with twin front forks on it, and the two big wheels and everything. Weighed about half a ton. It had one gear and a nameplate in the middle, so you couldn't handle a crosswind either. But yeah, that went down the hill quite well, and it went round a BMX track remarkably well for its size.
Yes. Oh fuck! Do either of you two have those city bikes where you live that you sign up to, and you can
like the Santander ones and shit.
Yes,
we don't even have buses where I live yet. No. We ain't been through and decided they're a bad idea yet.
Yeah. So in Belfast, we have these bike stations here, there, and everywhere, and you can go up, and if you're signed up to it, you punch in a code and it releases the bike, and you get charged for however long it is you're out on it. I'm not sure how much it is, but I keep seeing them going around the BMX tracks.
Are they licky or are they just pedal?
Oh, they're just pedal.
Right, okay.
Well, there's no pedal assist to them or anything. They're doing it all under their own steam, but they are taking the those bikes around the BMX course around close to where I live.
Yeah, we used to race everything around them. We had one in the town when I was a kid, and we took everything.
Yeah.
Hence that. But there was, like you say, there'd be choppers and grifters.
Races.
Yeah. I also had a rally Magnum racing bike at about 5 or 6 gears with cow horns on it. And that went round there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bike odyssey was some nondescript one that fell to bits. Then I had a rally Tomahawk, and then I think after that it was a weird one because we inherited this rally chopper, and it was the devil's own bike. It was lethal. Now, touch wood. Not that I'm ever going to get back on the fucker because it's probably been in a scrap metal like 4 times over. But I never come a cropper on the bloody thing. But everybody else who rode that bike ended up having a nasty accident on it.
Choppers were unstable bags of shit. We had, me and a couple of mates, we had some. And first, we took the front forks. This is boring, isn't it? We took the front forks out and put big forks in. So I had a 24-inch front racing wheel in mine.
Yeah.
And I think the back wheel on the chopper was about 22 inches, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the front wheel was bigger. So I was actually sat on it like Easy Rider now. I'm like that.
Yeah.
But he had a big front wheel. And my mate, he put a 26-inch on his. And then when we got bored with that, we took them to school and got the metalwork teacher to help us weld them together during lunch break.
Bloody hell. No, mine was the Bogo standard one, but there was the original chopper, which had like a duffel coat toggle for the 3 gears mechanism in the middle console.
That was nasty when you found that in the wrong way.
The nut robber, as I used to call it, yeah. And then there was one that came out slightly after that, which was like a mustardy yellow colour, and it had like a gear stick knob on it rather than the duffel coat toggle. And that was even worse. If you lamped your bollocks off that, it was fucking hell on earth. But then we got the grifter where the gears were nice and handy in the like 3-speed gears
The twist grip.
In the grip, yeah.
Yeah, that worked for about 6 months, and then
I must admit, yeah, I used to go through gear cables like there were no end of tomorrow. But my dad used to always have motorbikes, so he used to just swap them in and out. Because believe it or not, most of the brake cables and that were on the gear cables and that were like the same as the brake cable, so you could just change anything with anything.
Yep.
So there's many a time I didn't have a front brake for a few days until weekend come round. My dad could get me because he used to take the brake cable off the front brake, because as long as you had the back one, you didn't give a shit. Front brake, and then just change it for the gears exchange. And then the bike I had after that was a Rally Super Tough burner. You know, the old BMX days. Yeah, Rally Super Tough burner with the Skyway wheels on. Not the Arrayas like the other lesser known brands, but these were like proper polycarbonate Skyway wheels. Yeah. And that was my noble steed until I sort of learned to drive, you know what I mean?
But that's the other thing. And whenever we were kids, I don't know, the kids still learn how to fix their own punctures and change wheels and tires on their bike and all that sort of stuff. Is that still a thing?
My lad does, because he had a mountain bike, a good one, so he knows all that
Yeah.
shit. He's even got those quick fit kits where, say you get a puncture out on wherever you are in the middle of nowhere,
he plugs it.
You can't be pissed on with the fucking up and down with this little tiny little forward and backward pump thing. You find the hole, repair it, and then you've got these CO2 charges.
Yep.
And you bang them into the joint, and when you turn them in, it pops the seal and just pops it full, fills them full of CO2 just so you can get home. So it's quick and easy rather than spending 14 hours backwards and forwards with this like sort of 3-inch long hand pump.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the best invention for bicycles ever is the dropper seat post. I'll state that unequivocally. See the ability to push your seat down and get it out of your way for doing downhill descents and off road where you need to move about in the bike, and then pop it back up again whenever you want to pedal.
That's what my lad's got on his. I never had them. They were before my time, but my lad's on his bike.
Yeah.
He's got one of them. Yeah.
I only just fucking heard about them. What are you talking about?
Right.
Well,
So,
you've got a little button on your handlebars, the same
Right.
as if you like a
See-
little mini brake. Yeah, go on.
see on my mountain bike, whenever I'm pedaling along, I've got a lever that looks for all the world like a gear lever. But whenever you press that in and keep your weight on the seat, it slides right down to its lowest possible setting.
What, like an office chair?
Yeah, like an office chair.
Does it make the noise?
No.
Oh.
So it slams that down out of the way, which means you can move your body back and get your weight over the back wheel. Because whenever
Right.
you go down something steep, what sends you over the handlebars is where your weight is. So you want your weight back further back. Drop your seat down, get it out of the way. But the problem is whenever you then want to pedal, you have nothing to sit on. So the rest of that whole run, you're doing that standing on the pedals. But with the dropper seat post, you just press that lever again and the seat comes back up to its full height.
Yeah.
And you can sit on it. It's the best invention since bicycles were a thing.
Okay.
No, they're good. They are good. If
I'm sure they are. I've still got the two bikes I described.
Yeah.
I've still got a mountain bike somewhere. I don't know where it is. I think it's in my mate's garage.
Oh,
Ridgeback mountain bike. Yeah.
The butcher's bike I've got. Do you remember the leather saddles that were stretched
Yes.
over a metal frame and riveted?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
mine
they
has
also
one.
had-
Mine has one of those, but it's actually a Dunlop one made of rubber.
Oh, right. Did it
Yeah,
have the two?
and it has a rather uncomfortable, massive split in it, which it's had since I was 15, and it's still there, and the seat hasn't actually broken in half. So I don't know whether that's a testament to Dunlop rubber or not.
You do know a new saddle is probably about £8.
Oh, the bicycle itself for the last 8 years has sat in a garden with a planter in the front.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet you, if I took it into the shed and took it to bits and oiled it and put it back together, I could get tyres and
Yeah.
tubes for it, put them on, and I could ride it about.
Yeah. No,
I'll
I've
tell
got
you
a.
the- Go on, mate. Sorry.
I've got a nice Victus mountain bike, 27.5-inch wheels, rock shocks, front suspension. It's really nice. Dropper seat post, trip computer on it, all the bells and whistles. I just need to get out on it a bit more than what I do. But yeah, it's quite a nice mountain bike.
Yeah, I just used to have to get me nads clear of the seat.
Yeah.
That was my form of suspension. Just keep them clear of that.
In Holland, right? Because they have shed loads of bikes, yeah, but they're all functional bikes. And when you look at one of the Dutch sort of get me from A to B bikes, they look like nothing. They look boring, they look dull. But they're the most effective bicycles that you can imagine because they've had like sort of decades, if not hundreds of years of refining what's the most useful shape of bicycle.
The other thing is with the amount of bicycles that get stolen in Amsterdam, they have those old shit bikes for getting from A to B and their daily commute, so it doesn't matter that much when it does get stolen. Yeah. Oh, the most interesting thing.
Only a recent thing though, those stealings, isn't it, for undisclosed reasons.
Oh no. See the Amsterdams, see the canals in Amsterdam. They're 9 meters deep. Well, that's 3 meters of sludge, 3 meters of old bicycles, and 3 meters of water. The bicycle theft has, at one stage, the socialist Amsterdam council put thousands and thousands of white bicycles out onto the street that belonged to everybody. And the idea was you had these locations and you just cycled it to there, left it there, and then the next person took it on. So it was free transport for everyone. They put them out at 9 in the morning, and by lunchtime there was fuck all white bicycles. They were all gone. And that was in the 70s. It is what it is.
Billy's describing an interesting bike in the chat there, one that had the internal gears in the rear wheel hub.
Christopher had that.
I remember them. I remember dynamos as well. You remember them?
I had a striker with a rear wheel pedal back brake.
Pedal back brake.
For skids.
Yeah, and I had a rally all steel, which is an old-fashioned bike with a full chain guard, with a front dynamo hub and a 3-speed rear hub, built-in dynamo lights and everything.
Yeah,
full chain guard, full work. Old man's bicycle.
Did your dynamo have a capacitor on it, or did it, as soon as you stopped pedaling, go out?
Stop pedaling.
Yeah, so if you stopped pedaling, did the lights go out, or did you get like a grace 20-30 seconds?
No, it's when the wheels stopped turning.
Yeah, no, because I knew a lad, he had one. It must have been like,
Well, this
the
thing
next
was like
level
from
up.
this bike was like from the 1940s or something.
Oh, right, okay. Well, this wasn't quite that old, but it had a dynamo on it. But because I had lights, but when he stopped pedaling, his lights didn't go out until he stopped pedaling for like 30 seconds or something, because he had some kind of capacitor in there. And I thought, that's mint. And I'm certain to this day the reason why they don't have them anymore is because they probably realise that, like, if you fish the back off a telly and there's a capacitor there with a bit of charge in there, it's like it's not a good thing if you touch the fucker. Probably realise, there'll be probably some actuary out there thinking, yeah, well, should we recall these bikes, or how much will it cost for like cardiac arrests? How many cardiac arrests do you think we'll have if somebody actually accidentally touches the sort of the internal diode or whatever the fuck it was called? And they decided that it must have been worthwhile, but they never made any more. I think it was a Dunlop bike, believe it or not. Was it a Dunlop? Oh, no, Peugeot. It was a Peugeot. French. Yeah, Peugeot bike, yeah.
Oh.
Those French just don't know what to be at.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I mean, we're really all still, like I said, it had all the plates and covers on it, and the mud guards had chrome tips on them, all kinds of shenanigans. And when the all the pipe frames welded together,
Yeah.
all that wraparound stuff was cut to leaf shapes and things. It was all fancy.
All right.
So I painted the whole bike black, and then I coloured in all them bits red, and then I pinstriped the chain guard and all sorts of things. Look, mint. Then I put cowls on that as well.
Oh, do you remember the Dodge Kingpin?
No.
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 Or the Dodge bike brand at all?
No,
No.
I don't actually, mate. No.
No.
Have a look, see if you find an example.
It might have just been a Northern Ireland thing then, but they were.
Have a look for it, 42. But one thing I will say, do you remember when we were kids and we used to get like fucking Yank programs and a few Aussie programs like the Red Hand Gang, and then there'd be like an Aussie one? Didn't they have shit bikes compared to us? Yeah.
Well, I used to like, what were them bikes, American bikes with the big fat white tyres on them? Little motorbike shape. They were push bikes, but they looked a bit like 50s motorbikes, like Indians.
No.
Do you not remember them from like the 70s
they
and
had
60s?
shit bikes, Packer. That's all I remember.
Yeah, oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry. Where was you going with that?
No, I'm just saying, like, we used to watch things like the Red Hand Gang and fucking all that shit. And what was the Aussie one? We used to get an Aussie Kids program.
They did have funny puny looking chopper type things, didn't they? And that weird kind of shit like that, didn't they?
They had weird. Because like us was like mainly like a triangle sort of. Well, like
they used to go for weird curves, didn't they?
Yeah, weird fucking curves.
I do remember now. Yeah, now you're talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, weird fucking faggy curves. Like, what the fuck's that all about? Did you get a handbag with that or what? It's like, no discerning kid of the late 70s, early 80s would be seen dead on a piece of shit like that. And yet, that was the de rigueur of the Red Hand Gang, wasn't it? It was like, la, 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 la. That's a shit bike. Shit bike, no fans. Shit bike, no fans.
Do you remember the Commando? And the Bomber?
Oh, the Rally Bomber, yeah. The Rally Bomber was a great bike, yeah.
Well, the Commando was a bit like a mini chopper.
Kinda. Wasn't it Tomahawk?
Yeah, it was a bit like a Tomahawk.
Yeah. Was that the littler one than the Tomahawk? Was the Commando like the really small one? Then there was the Tomahawk, and then there was the chopper.
Might have been.
Yeah. That thing. Did you not have those in England?
No. Shoppers. We call them shoppers. Women ride them to the shops.
No.
Yeah.
Like, there was a time where in the town where I grew up, where everybody's fucking mum and nan had one. The tartan thing on with the tartan trolley with little white wheels. It was the time equivalent of them.
I'll tell you what, if you ever saw a fella riding one of them, you knew he was after kids.
You never saw a fella riding one of them, unless he nicked it.
I've never
If
seen
he was riding one, he was pissed and he'd nicked it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another thing that does my jaffers in. Do you see how the lower bar? So
hang on. Have you seen the price of that thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
£109, but it's in good condition. But what I'm saying is, do you remember? I remember this now. Do you remember, like if you look at the back, you've got the triangle at the back. If you were a boy, you used to have the triangle at the front, didn't you?
Crossbar.
So it was like the crossbar at the front used to be nice and aligned for you to smash your nuts off.
Yeah.
And yet the girls who haven't got nuts, they get they get away with the like the non nutcracker.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It was unfair, wasn't it? Sexism, that is. Sexism.
That was the standard bike that most girls would get whenever they were like 9, 10, 11. Where I lived, like they were all riding about in this Dodge Kingpin.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's because most girls.
But this box thing would come off the back, and then people would get backies on them.
Yeah.
Look up Rally Shopper.
Yeah. That's what that is.
Well,
That's a Rally Shopper.
Yeah.
No, that's a Dawes Kingpin.
Yeah, but it's a shopper bike, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dawes was fucking. I remember Dawes being great bikes. They were like fucking handmade shit. What the fuck is that?
Well, like I say, the reason why the bikes were like that was because back in those days of respectability and anti-304ism, they expected young ladies to be wearing a nice skirt, didn't they? So that is the reason why they were like that. Even so, it was unfair because we had to put up with the nutcracker and they didn't.
If you're a Jehovah's Witness, that is ideal transport. I get you.
Wasn't that the bike that fucking Frank Spencer used to ride? I'm certain it was,
I'm not
At the beginning
sure.
of his program, Frank Spencer used to ride one of those fuckers.
I'm honestly not sure. Right, I'm going to drop that back out again. That's enough of that. Goes Kingpin for a while.
Mind you, a Mark 1 chopper's worth about 800 quid now, isn't it?
Mm.
If it's mint, yeah.
They had the proper gorilla bars that you could adjust.
What's that mean, pack of gorilla bars?
Well, you know the bars on the front of a chopper. They were like they went up and over. Yeah. On the Mark 1s, like on your racer, there was a bolt at the top of the
Oh,
stem.
I used to have that. Yeah.
And you could loosen that, and then therefore you could put the bars forwards or backwards. The Mark 2 and onwards, that was fixed. So they were just there. And you could only go up there with them.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
So you wanted a set of Mark 1 bars.
Yeah. I suppose that's a bit like me with I suppose you can say that's in inverse the same as me when I had my Mark II Capri as my car, and me and my mate went up to the McGuinness's scrapyard and put a set of Mark III lights on it. Yeah.
Oh yes.
You went twin headlamps.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the circular
Excellent
ones.
choice, sir. Excellent choice.
You could put them in. It was the same fucking design.
Yeah. I had a Mark 1 Granada Coupe, and I considered it. Because I thought a Mark 1 Granada Coupe with twin headlights would look mint, but I never got around to it.
Yeah, I used to like the Granada Gear. Do you remember the Granada Gear?
Yeah, mine was a gear. It was a coupe gear 3-litre automatic. Had the great big silly square grill on the front between the lights and
Billy Bloggs, cheeky bugger.
Oh,
ban that person.
Do you remember in the 80s all the fad was of getting the aftermarket grill put into the front of your car with the 2-spur headlights built into it?
Right, yeah.
That's what I did.
The spotlights.
Yeah, the two circular ones, yeah.
Never did it.
Oh, you mean like spotlights?
Yes.
Oh no, like the rally cars sort of thing.
Yes, started off everybody was putting round spotlights on, and then the aftermarket things used to be doing grills for like a Mazda 323 or a Ford Escort or whatever, and you could take out your original grill and put this one in, and it had 2 spotlights built into it.
Do you remember twat lamps?
Who?
Twat lamps. Do you remember twat lamps?
What
We
are
used to
they?
have like a fucking spot lamp on the top of your car, and you used to be able to turn it on. It was like a fucking
Yeah,
a twat lamp.
I
It
live
was
in the
like-
countryside, mate. Half of the trucks have got a row of 4 of them. Now they've got a big block. They've got a big like LED block on top of the soppy bar.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about. I've got a truck myself, but I've got a truckman canopy on it, so I can actually use the back of the truck for stuff.
the people that had the twat lights on the roof round our way was the police and the army, shining down the entries.
Yeah. Anybody else driving around Northern Ireland with them on, thinking, why is everybody fucking shooting at me?
Yeah.
Throwing stuff. Here comes another bottle of piss. Fucking hell, hello.
Oh fuck. Bottles of piss is the least of your worries. Oh. I remember being in a Land Rover ambulance and being hit by a half brick because I was in the TA, and we would regularly have to go up a motorway that's adjacent to an estate called Bontmore. North Belfast, you've got 2 really large housing estates. One of them is called Rathcoole. The other one's called Bontmore. Rathcoole's 100% Protestant. Bontmore's 100% Catholic. There's not one police officer that lives in either of those estates. And the police do not go into those estates without pretty much invitation. But we would be going up this motorway adjacent to that, and across, there's 3 lanes of motorway on the other side going down, and 3 lanes of motorway on this side going up, and we're on the inside lane, and these fuckers are hitting us with half bricks from the others from across 6 lanes, and they actually hit.
I was laughing when you started that story because the story started. I was in a Land Rover ambulance and I was hit by a half brick.
Yeah.
And I went in my head, I went through a quick list of places in the world where that would be a likely occurrence. And 42. And can I just say it's not looking good?
Yeah. No, that's just regular.
There is a list. And
oh, but they don't just do Land Rover ambulances, they do buses whenever they know who's on them. And they have, on certain days and whatnot, where there's liable to be a lot of movement, they've got spotters to know which buses are coming when. On the way back in the Belfast, you're on their side of the road, so they don't have the 6 lanes to go over as well.
Good.
Yeah, it's great fun. Oh, fuck. But there you go. Let's see. Will we do a musical interlude, same as we've done an hour?
Go on then.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Oh. Shenanigans, right. Where did that go? All right.
So has to now work out how he does this again. Not used to it yet, everybody. It's not coming smoothly.
I had a link. I had a link, but I've lost the fucking file where it is, so I need to look this up again.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. Anybody who's watched me before is well used to dead air.
Right. Where does... Oh no, can't even find the thing. Open recent.
Somebody in the chat mentioned playing cards in the spokes. Does anybody remember?
Oh yes.
Right, so there was these things on coat hangers, size things, and they used to clip around the top of the coat hanger, and they'd be like 12 or 10 or 14 or whatever, little plastic things. And you could unclip them, little round plastic things, and then stick them on your bicycle spokes. And you could have like 20 of them on each wheel. So the whole they'd all rattle as you rode along. No, just me.
Yes, I remember there's a whole bunch of us all did that. Oh, I even found the song that was after. So
Who ran back CNA or B&H? VHS or wherever.
StreamYard. Present. Share screen. Share. Here we go. This is called the acronym PALS. Shout out to Lofer Sheffield, who mentioned this in the comments of last week's show. Give me a heads up for this song, and we're going to play this. It's the acronym PALS.
Smoky town where they were born, down in the valley, smoky little streets. They were pals from childhood days, climbing trees and running through the fields. And they all played together through the turning of the years, sharing their laughter, sharing all their fears. The seasons saw them growing and the seasons passing turn them round through the turning years. The Accrington pals. School days end, the lads all went to work, some spinning, some weaving in the sheds, on the land or down the pit, working hard to earn their daily bread. And they all went walking up old Pendle Hill. On Sundays the lark sang high above the dale. Little Willie Riley played his mandolin and sang. They were laughing, they were singing then. The Accrington pals. "1916 came the call, we need more lads to battle with the Hun. Lads of Lancashire, heed the call, with God on our side the battle will soon be won." So they all came marching to the beating of the drums. Down from the fields and factories they'd come, smiling at the girls who came to see them on their way. They were marching, marching, marching away. The Accrington pals. summer sky shining on that perfect day. A lark was singing high above the sun. Brothers, pals, and fathers lay watching that sweet bird sing in the quiet of the dawn. And they all went walking out towards the howling guns, talking and laughing, calmly walking on, believing in the lies that left them dying in the mud. And they're lying, lying, lying still. The Accrington Pals. Smoky town that heard the news, down in the valley, smoky little streets, houses quiet and curtains pulled, all round the town a silent shroud of grief. And the larks were singing still above old Pendle Hill. The wind was in the bracken and the sun was shining still. The lark was singing sweetly as the evening fell upon the sun. And Edward Parkinson, Bobby Henderson, Billy Clegg, Johnny Malloy, Norman Jones, Albert Berry, Willie Riley. The Accrington Pals.
There we go. That was the Accrington Pals.
That was excellent, mate. Honestly, I mean, well,
Really
tragic
good,
subject, but it was excellent.
really good find. I wouldn't have found that if it wasn't for Loafer Sheffield.
Well done, Loafer.
Yeah, but it's very, yeah, it is. It's very moving. The the ideas of the Pals Regiment was you could join up along with people from your own local area, and they'll be kept together through their first enlistment and whatnot. So you go through everything with your friends, which
And then that would decimate the local area, wouldn't it? Because we've
the problem is in the wars directly before World War One, if you lost 100 people, if you lost 100 men in a battle, that was a major loss.
Yeah.
And you know, whenever you think about in the events leading up to Rorke's Drift, there was possibly 1,000, 1,500 men had been lost in a really big, massive disaster. Then you get the first day of the Somme where we'll lose 57,000 in a fucking day.
Yeah.
And the PALS was a great idea until you come to industrialized war and therefore industrialized losses.
At the cenotaph in my local village, there's, and they're not, well, they're not all brothers, but there'll be brothers and cousins, because when you go to the cenotaph in my village, which was a pit village, so all the pitmen, in the First World War, the pitmen went to war. In the Second World War, they needed the pitmen to fuel the country. So if you were people like me, my granddad, who was a pitman, you worked the mines during the day, but then you were in the fire brigade on a night time, or you were like ARP watchman or whatever. Because that was the thing, you know, they wouldn't let them go. They wouldn't. They said we need you to dig coal, and there was hell on. Originally, there was hell on, you know. But when you
reserve
look at
occupations.
when you look at the first World War casualties, I might even, you know, when there's nobody about, I might even go around and just film it, not just to fucking dox one, but just to show. It was literally, you know, it would be Adams, you know, A Adams,
Yep.
You know, J Adams, R Adams, P Adams, you know, and there'd be a boatload of Adams. Now these Adams, some of them were brothers, but the ones who weren't brothers, they were cousins. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get down to the next one, so you'd be Bishop, and there'd be A Bishop, you know, F Bishop, J Bishop, G Bishop, and the same again. And it's like I say, when you look at the people who, it wasn't like sort of like, you know, one name and then a different one and then a completely different, and then this one. And they even put, I don't even know, but they're all for like the local town. And when you look at it, you could just see that, you know, after the First World War, that village, that pit village, it must have been absolutely decimated, you know, of menfolk, yeah?
All small towns have got them. Every church has got one.
Yeah.
A list.
Yeah.
And the smaller the town or village or whatever, the less surnames there are on the list, but the more there are that are the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
More
you
there
say,
are the
there'll
same.
be, yeah. So in a small village, there might be 20 names on the list, but there'll be like 4 surnames.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. So, you know, there's a couple of hundred names on the list, but there's probably only about half a dozen surnames. It's absolute fucking tragedy.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And what that does to a small village or a town of any size.
Yeah. You know, and now you've got these ruthless bastards turning around and saying, "Oh, you know, we're gonna, you know, we need to be prepared for when the next thing kicks off that you've orchestrated, you fuckers."
Do you know what they've also said? They've also said the solution to not having enough recruits for our army is to allow pensioners in. They've honestly said that.
Dad's army. Well, like I say, when you look at Ukraine, I think the age now is up to 50, isn't it? So if you're 50 or younger, you're fair game to go into Zelensky's coke-raddled fucking.
Oh, and the other thing
grinder.
is they have reduced the intake age as well because they were holding off at 25 for quite a long time, and now they have reduced under that, and they're going to take them straight out of the universities.
Probably, yeah.
What, in Ukraine you're talking about?
Yeah, Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam, it was 90.
No, I mean, it's obvious that Ukraine's winning the way that they said they're winning, because they're winning. The side that's winning always starts to recruit their fucking old, their young, and their women.
Yeah.
That happens every time somebody's fucking winning. It's blatantly obvious that they're getting twatted and they need to stop.
Yeah.
There's going to be fuck all left in that country.
Well, like I say, you know, when you look at when you saw Dame Neil Stalin alongside Macron, who came in rubbing his nose and had to move away a little crafty implement used for mysterious anti-hay fever medication, shall we say?
Why was his mum telling him off?
That's his wife, mate.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
what's that? 42. You're the expert on this. What, you know? The domestic abuse side of the shit. Give us your take. 42.
You've seen a very, very small glimpse of what his life's like in private, and had that been the other way round, he would have been in a police cell. At least until it got sorted out. But you have now.
If you're saying if that had been a right wing leader somewhere giving his wife a chin,
no, it wouldn't even matter, even if he was on the left. Had that been any man striking their wife, the police would have been at the bottom of the airplane steps waiting for him. Come you
I'm
with
glad
us.
I'm glad you caveat that with man, because I was going to say that idiot that used to be in charge of Canada. What was his name?
Justin Trudeau.
Trudeau. Yeah, I was going to say
Justin-
Trudeau, but you
Justin
you
Castro.
caveated what you said with man, so I can't
Yeah.
put him forward.
Yeah, honestly, if anybody else would be down the station explaining themselves, that is clearly domestic abuse. It's clearly normalized, and it also puts a really large question on his ability to do his job, because he is obviously making the decisions that she decides are best.
He's clearly someone's bitch.
Yeah, hers.
Well, that's that. But is that? I mean, for albeit different reasons, I don't see that as being any different to the fucking holdover Boris Johnson that Carrie Ann Boleyn Simmons had over Bojo the Clown. If you do this to promote my dad's sort of green energy business, I'll give you a blowy tonight. Oh yeah, well, everybody wants some blowy tonight.
This is not a new issue. This has been going on I'd say a couple of thousand years.
Tale as old as time.
You do know that the police were called to their house because Carrie had me a fucking wine bottle.
Jesus. Yeah, well, I tell you what, here's a prescient moment to have a bit of a video. Let me know what you've got it on.
Oh.
Men don't need women at all, not even a little bit, except and only for the purposes of procreation. And literally, we would not actually need them in society for anything else. That's my counter.
What? Wow, Andrew. You misogynist, Andrew. Wow.
Look, I guess I deserve this type of chastisement.
Yeah, I mean, there would be no cookies.
That.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you would.
I feel like
of them.
I feel like a man could get a hold of this recipe and make these cookies. I feel like it's possible. I feel like Dave Ramsey can make these cookies. That it could be done. The thing is, though, is like, I think about this from the standpoint of, well, there's societies right this second I can point to where women are basically classed as second-class citizens. And so basically they're designed in those societies is specifically for procreation. Those societies seem to be doing just fine. Men don't need women at all.
Oof. Yeah, Andrew, lad, he's come semi-famous, hasn't he? Because he gets on everywhere now, like fucking Piers Morgan and all that shit now, doesn't he?
It's very difficult to argue with. I'm kind of with him on what he just said then. I mean, if all the women disappeared tomorrow, society would carry on until all the men were dead.
Yes.
Like, you know, if all the women disappeared tomorrow, it would be tragic. I would miss you all, well, most of you. Right? I'm not saying this is a good thing. What I'm saying is society, the roads,
fish,
shit like that. Yeah, food, supermarkets, all that would carry on.
We would run out of fish. Could you imagine what happens whenever 70% of the male population wake up, find out there's no women, and go, fuck it, I can go fishing and nobody's going to nag me?
Oh, fish in the wild. Yeah, fish in the wild would be in big fucking trouble.
Yeah,
because most wild animals would be in big trouble because they're going to get shot out or fished. Yeah. I mean, you know, we're off doing shit.
I will say, I'll say another thing.
I don't. Can I just say I didn't start this so we could go down the road of how fucking great it would be.
All right, no. If it were not for female youth and beauty, we would still be in mud huts. Because I can guarantee you, see the first caveman that improved his mud hut a bit and put down animal skins and furs to sit on and make it all comfy. He did not do that for himself. He did it for the hot cave woman across the street.
Yeah, but I've got an argument for you. Carry on, but I've got an argument for you.
Right. See at some stage there was somebody out in America that pulled up in their cart and asked Betsy Lou to go riding with him in the cart and the buggy after church, and she went no because the seat was hard, and he turned up next Sunday, and that, by God, that buggy had a fucking suspension unit on it, and it was much easier to sit in. Everything that was ever produced was a result of female youth and beauty because men built something to impress them.
Oh yeah. What, 99.9% of domestic appliances?
Yeah.
Like, no man ever needed a washing machine.
Well, he had a washing machine.
Yeah. Sorry,
just give the washing
machine
a washing machine.
It's not my channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's an iron that you haven't got a fucking light a fire for.
Yeah.
Here's a washing machine. Here's detergent. All that kind of thing. Anyway, I was just saying, like, but yeah.
Do you know what would disappear along with women? Ferraris and Lamborghinis. What do you need one for? Be impressing that.
I heard another good one. The teacher asked the class a question. What do you call a one woman in heaven? Tommy puts his hand up and says, an angel, miss. She says, very good, Tom. She says, what do you call 10 women in heaven? And Tommy puts his hand up and he says, a flock of angels, miss. She says, very good, Tom. She says, what do you call all women going to heaven? Tommy puts his hands up and says, peace on earth, miss.
Oh, fuck yes.
Well, where did we get down this mystic route?
I don't know.
I was just trying to make a point that men had crack on just fine for a good long time without women, but the other way around, shit would disintegrate pretty quick. So if men, my argument to you now is that society peaked in about 1995. Yeah.
I think you've went past.
Yeah, probably.
I would have said 85.
Righto. So everything we need has been invented. So if all men check out now and just crack on with the shit we've already achieved,
yep,
we'll be fine.
I think the biggest problem is, especially when you see those shows like that one we've just seen there. What is it? Yeah, but there's fish and chips or whatever it is, and then you've got the whenever podcast, yeah, with that Andrew lad on, and like I say, he's become very famous very quick recently, and the thing is, this is his own words. This is what he said, and I sort of agree. Where he said, men don't think that they'll succeed at the expense of women. Yeah. So, they know that we have to, men and women, we fulfill a symbiotic part of a whole, if you like, yeah? And not whole in that dirty sense, you evil-minded people in the chat. But he said the problem is the propaganda that women have been fed for like the last 60 years or so is, oh no, you can succeed if men fail. So men know that they don't succeed if women fail, but the reverse isn't true. And the problem is, it's been pushed that much and that often. There's a lot of people, a lot of men out there just say, yeah, you know what, fuck you, I'm not even going to bother. Fuck it. I'll go, like you say, I'll go fishing or I'll just go and play golf. I'm not going to play these games anymore because, the what is it? The sort of you've got to do 10 times more or 5 times more for a woman that's 10 times less bloody feminine than your grandmother or some shit like that, or compared to your grandfather. And I lay a lot of this fucking shit at the doorstep of anti-social media because I don't think men are as absorbed in antisocial media, and it's a generational thing. So it's sort of mainly millennials and Gen Zers, but they look at social media and they don't realise that when they look at sort of all these different people posting shit about, oh look, we're at Machu Picchu, you know, blah blah blah. They're looking at everybody's fucking life's highlight reels. You know, they don't see the bit where they spent 3 weeks trying to traipse through some nasty arse jungle, shitting through the eye of a needle because they had dysentery for a fortnight to get to the attraction. You don't see that, but you just get this, and the hell of it is, you just see this gurning face, like this big fucking moon gurning face saying, "Hi, I'm here at Machu Picchu," and like literally like a little fragment over one shoulder, you can see the you know, the wonder, because they are the main focus. You know, it's like no. You know, when we like, you know, when we were sort of there, like the 80s, you know, the 80s sort of thing, and the 80s and the 90s, if we went to see Machu Picchu, you'd probably not see many pictures of people like you in them, because you'd be taking pictures of the actual wonder. Whereas now, because everybody's like fucking main character syndrome wank stain, it's like, you know, I'm the most, you know, yeah, okay, this wonder's been here for like 1,500 years, but I'm the main fucking attraction here, so I'm going to be gurning with myself going, hi, I'm in front of this wonder, Machu Picchu, and it's like, you know, you can fuck off, you're a here today, gone tomorrow piece of shit. That's been there for like 1,500 years. I want to see the fucking, you know, the wonder. I don't want to see your gurning face, you stupid idiot. You know what I mean?
It don't matter. You're not even looking at her because she's got a filter on.
Yeah. Oh,
that ain't what she looks like.
No, I'm not just talking about the women. I'm talking about the fucking vacuous Gen Z blokies and that, and, you know, the fucking Tristram and Jemima type blokies where they're like sort of saying, you know, oh yeah, and here we are here. What?
They had issues on Everest last week because there was too many people there. It was causing a log jam for people doing the bit up the rope, the actual peak. And, you know, something's going very wrong whenever you're at fucking the highest point in the world and there's too many fucking people. You know, there shouldn't
be. You should send the fuckers to K2. There wouldn't be that many of them then.
We're not going to make it, are we?
Like, what the fuck? The most remote, highest place in the world. What happens whenever we get there? Oh, there's a camp set up.
You know, don't worry, we'll fuck that up. Yeah. No, we found it now. That's fucking ruined. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. Well, like I say, you know, another concern that's coming on is the fact that AI and robotics are going to get so advanced that, you know, people are just going to check out and get themselves a robot. Like I watched one. What was it called? A video with that Megan Fox and what's it now? Subversion or something like that. In fairness, it was a really good film, a really creepy fucking film. Subservience, it was called.
The sex robots are a Trojan horse.
No, she was there as like a general nanny because the wife had been taken.
She just happened to look like who, Sensum?
Megan Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's just the nanny, love. Keep talking, Sensum. I'm listening. Keep talking.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? So it starts out as just being the nanny, and the real mum's like poorly in hospital. So it was like, you know, just happened to have this. Really, what you want is a Wendy Craig looking nanny, don't you? That's what you really want. Yeah. You know, it's like a proper nanny looking nanny.
Who's that woman that played Captain Marvel, or when they gender swapped, whoever it was? Was it Captain Marvel?
Yeah, it was Captain Marvel.
See, now if I'd have gone that, my missus has gone, yeah, crack on. Yeah. I hope she makes you sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, it was, you know, this whatever, subservience film or whatever it was called. And it was really creepy. But the thing is, you know, a few weeks later or so, they were showing these other robotics, and you could tell they were still a bit roboty because it's like still the Mark 1 phase. But you think to yourself, you know, yeah, it's not too much of a stretch of imagination because Mark 1 is a bit roboty, a bit fucking blow up dolly sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mark II's probably, you know, slightly more articulate, and probably passes.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got control over the USB port, so you can turn the fucker off when you want to.
Yeah, but
And
that's fine until you get called into the office at work and there's one of them things sitting across the road with a very stern face being the fucking HR Karen.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you see, because the Mark III version is the one where it fucking divorces you and takes all your money.
Yeah.
for the realistic experience.
Like a fellow goes in the toy shop and asks about a Barbie. He says, need a Barbie. He says, well, there's Air Hostess Barbie, that's 1999. There's Travel Agent Barbie, that's 1999. Nurse Barbie, 1999. You've got all these other Barbies, and then at the end you've got Divorce Barbie. She's £2,000. Your man goes, here, hold on. Why is Divorce Barbie so much dearer than all the rest of them in 1999? Says, what you have to realize is Divorce Barbie comes with Ken's house, Ken's car, Ken's boat, Ken's motorbike, and two of Ken's friends.
Yeah, Ken's boat.
If it only weren't true, you know. But anyway.
Well, I did see a good one the other day. I saw it was a picture online a bloke had put up, and it was just an empty room, right? Just an empty room, got a carpet, wallpaper, curtains. That's it. Nothing else in it. And he's like, I've got this is what I've got. But I've got the divorce. We're separated. That's it. This is what I'm left with. And someone's put in the chat, chin up, mate. You're one chair and a computer away and a blank mattress away from fully furnished.
Yes.
You know, a chair, a computer, and a blank mattress, you're done. You're there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You can live with that.
Well,
if
you know, there's been, I mean,
a hammock and 2 shackles.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Someone's keep the sleeping bag off the floor, whatever it is.
The thing is, the talking points are now hitting the mainstream media, likes of Piers Morgan and all that lot, you know, when they're talking about so-called MGTOW and incel and all this bullshittery. Usually when some fucking retard goes off it in America, yeah, they come out with this bullshit. But it also starts forming into, you know, into politics, because here, I don't know if it was whichever one is supposed to be is it Yvette Cooper is the Home Secretary, saying they'll be monitoring sort of what is it, sort of MGTOW and whatever, you know, the so-called, because what they confuse MGTOW is they say MGTOW is this no, MGTOW is basically we just don't give a fuck anymore. We just don't care. It's like, you know, we're not anti-women or anything. We just don't want anything to do with them. There's a world of difference. Do you know what I mean?
They keep saying Rollo Tomasi, who is a pickup artist, is a men's rights
advocate.
Rolled Up
Tamale, yeah.
Rollo Tamale. They keep saying he's a men's rights activist or advocate. Despite the fact that Rollo has said many, many times, he was a pickup artist. He's now on to something totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that it says you keep on talking about that.
That other wanker from Return of Kings.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. It's gone.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, so you got Rolled Up Tamale there and all these others. So they're saying like, oh, you know, oh. But the reason why the government, and I've like saying, fuck yeah, I can understand now. The reason why the government are taking a dim view, it's not because they want to try and increase the population or any shit like that, because they're all evil bastards and they'd much rather replace us with fucking Ramjet and fucking Mtembe. The reason why they're pissed off about it is because men in general, you know, we can live really happy lives on very little, yeah? As long as we've got peace and quiet, we don't give a fuck. But you got successful people. So for years now, the marriage contract and all of this bullshit in general has literally been the government having access to men's wealth and resources via women, because it's not the men who want the new cars or the fucking new curtains and the new settee and, you know, painting the house. It's generally it's generally the other people, shall we
My
say?
curtains, everybody.
So if you know, if that's all of a sudden removed away, you're taking away a massive portion of the funds going into the exchequer, because men will be quite happy to just earn what they need to, or they'll earn an excess, bank what they need, and then just retire when they're 40. And that's the thing that they hate the most, because they want access to that wealth and resources, and they do that either through, you know, marriage licenses or through divorce rape, basically.
The other thing is the larger proportion of younger unmarried men you have in your society, the more likely it is for you to have a violent revolution. The one thing that is pretty much guaranteed to end in a revolution sooner or later, and a very violent one, is the majority of your young men having no family and no sexual outlet. And that's where they get to the stage where they can all collectively go stir crazy and go, fuck this, there's nothing for us here anyway, we're just going to rip the whole thing down.
Well, they could do that, or they could just be Sigma and decide, yeah, I'm happy as I am, thank you. I'll just, you know, I'm just going to do my own thing, be my own person. I'm not going to be anti this or pro that. I'm just going to do my own thing, and I'm just going to, you know,
make title heart.
Interact with people on a, you know, if it's in business or in work, I'll interact with people on a professional basis and nothing more. There was a great one I saw recently where there was this bloke who joined the company, and he must have been, let's just say, he must have been a bit chatty or a bit hot looking or whatever. And all of the fillies were sort of like, oh yeah, do you want to come? And he goes, no. He's like, do you want to come out? No, don't want to go drinks. And then they'd see him with the lads, and they'd say, oh, do you want to go to the sports bar tonight? Yeah, we'll do a bit of that then. And these women got into such an apoplectic fucking thing, because he was outside of being professional, which is all you were required to do. He just didn't want anything to do with them. And they ended up sort of moaning at HR, saying, you know, he can't do this. And it was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, he's completely ignoring us, and it's very unprofessional. Well, is he ignoring you when you ask him about work? No, but he's like sort of just literally giving us the answers that we need and then fucking off. Well, that's what he's supposed to do, isn't he? Yeah, well, when he's with the guys, he's having a bit of slaver on and a bit of this and a bit of that. And in the end, so they bring this case. So they bring this lad in, yeah, and they said, like, you know, the fillies in the office are a bit miffed at the fact that you only deal with them in a professional manner. And he says, is that a problem? He goes, well, you know, who knows? He goes, well, that's what I thought I was meant to be. Turns out that in his former life in a different business, when he'd been the friendly guy and he'd been this and he'd been that, but he didn't want any kind of sexual relationship or any kind of relationship at all with a particular woman. Yeah, he was professional all the way through, but she wanted to make more of it. She accused him of all sorts that were proven without shadow of a doubt not to be true. And he says, so from that point on, I decided that I was just going to be respectful and communicative, but outside of anything to do with work, I'm not going to bother at all, because once bitten, twice shy. And they ended up binning off the birds because, you know, they literally, because they are not the focus of attention, they were pissed off. That's That's the real reason.
Oh.
You know, you see them on the old TikTok videos saying, and this man texted me 20 times and he did this and he did. Do you know what's worse than a man texting them 20 times? A man who doesn't text them once. That's what's worse. Do you see what I mean?
Oh.
You can't win. You can't win.
You know the DJ Liz Kershaw?
Yes, I do. Yeah, Liz. Yeah, bloody hell.
Do you know that she? Do you know she drove a male colleague to suicide?
No, but I do remember
She
Liz Kershaw. Yeah.
harassed and harangued them.
I
Because,
remember she wasn't much of a looker, but I don't think she was that bad.
Well, she asked this. She asked a producer in the show on a date, and he didn't fancy her. And then she ridiculed him at every meeting for a couple of years. She kept on messing with him at work, and he kept going to the bosses and saying this was going on, and they said you should be flattered that she actually likes you. And yet he walked out in front of a bus and got hit by the bus and didn't die. And
did they say the same about Jimmy Savile and Roll?
Yeah, well, interestingly, Liz Kershaw around this same time was involved in the controversy where they were giving out prizes on the radio, but they had faked the competitions. And she said that
I remember that one. Yeah,
she got pulled
Vanessa
off.
Feltz in that and all.
Yeah, well, Liz Kershaw got pulled off the air because of that. A couple of weeks after the male employee that she'd been harassing stuffed a bag of crisps down his throat to suffocate himself and died. But she said her worst time ever was during the period where she was pulled off the air, not because she caused her co-worker to kill himself, but because she was caught fiddling the prizes with the competitions.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if she had been a male and the employee had been a female, the police might have been a little bit interested in that.
Yeah, obviously.
But as it is, they're not.
Is it narcissist? Is that what she is?
Yeah, narcissist.
So it's not necessarily a female trait in and of itself.
No.
So I'm not going there, but yeah, it's really weird. It's really like people that are like that.
Oh, there are without a doubt men who would have that same sort of behavior and harass somebody down until they kill themselves. That's not a gendered thing. It's a very fucked up person thing, and would be available in both sexes. But the fact of the matter, the problem is, if it's a woman that goes and says my colleague keeps on harassing me and asking me out,
yeah, the world stops until something's done about that.
Yeah, well, they don't get told. They definitely do not get told. Yeah, but you should be flattered that he actually thinks you're attractive.
Yeah. No, it's happened to me, mate. It's happened to me. I've had my arse grabbed, and I went by a boss, and I went to someone else and said, "This has happened."
And what was his name?
What do you think? And what do you think we're going to do about that? It was literally like, and not in a what would you like us to do about that? What what the fuck do you think we're going to do about that kind of a way, in a sarcastic kind of a manner?
Yeah.
Was that all right?
You lucky bastard.
No. No one thought that. Trust me. So. Weird.
Mr. Sansom, have you anything else?
Yeah,
in the hopper?
I'll share this one, and then we'll exit. We'll exit stage left. Are you ready?
Here we go. Oh,
A few of your texts coming in here this morning, an alternative view on the Jimmy Savile story. This texter says, I wish everyone would stop criticising Jimmy Savile. He was a nice man. When I was 8, he fixed it for me to milk a cow blindfolded.
That's a strange one.
And actually, on the point of texts and tweets, unfortunately, earlier in the programme, I was the victim of a prank text about Jimmy Savile, which I mistakenly read out rather naively. I'm very sorry if I've caused any offence, but apologies. But stop criticising Jimmy Savile. He was a nice man. When I was 8, he fixed it for me to milk a cow blindfolded.
That's a strange one.
really was.
And actually, on the point of texts and tweets, unfortunately, earlier in the programme, I was the victim of a prank text about Jimmy Savile, which I mistakenly read out rather naively. I'm very sorry if I've caused any offence.
Anyway, we won't say
apologies, it was a genuine mistake.
I did actually meet Jimmy Savile. I did actually do that when I was about 6 or 7, I think. So there you go. I met him and Bernard Cribbins at Crystal Palace.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
No one's saying anything. I was all right, everybody. By the way.
Yeah.
I did not milk a cow blindfolded.
So Rubus Cockburnianus.
Were you just at an event that he happened to be at as well?
Yes, but I was. We did all go up and meet him.
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah. Did he fix it for you?
No. Bernard was nice.
Who was Bernard?
Bernard
Bernard
Cribbins.
Cribbins?
Bernard
Cribbins. Off the Railway Children.
Yes. Railway Children's an excellent film.
Yeah. Oh, Jackanory legend, Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah.
Can I say that? I think I can say that.
He's been in everything. He was in Bloody Doctor Who at some point as well, wasn't he?
Several points, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I watched the other night? The Longest Day.
Yeah, bloody hellfire. Is that the one with John Wayne in?
Yep. John Wayne and
Fonda, Holden.
Yeah, everybody, all the stars. Whenever they made a decision to make a film in black and white, and they said, we'll help people know the difference between a film and news footage, because there was a lot of news footage and whatnot. And he says, it's easy, we'll put a star in every frame. So you had fucking Roger Moore and John Wayne and everybody on it.
Do you remember a film? Do you remember an actor called George Segal? George Segal or George Segal, however they pronounce it. He was around. He was big in this. I think he was around from like the late 60s through to the early 80s. But there was a film he was in called The Bridget Remagen. That was a good film, wasn't it? War film. Do you remember that one, The Bridget Remagen?
Yeah, right. Now I know this because he turned up in a TV series playing someone's granddad in like the noughties or the teens. And he used to tell his grandson war stories, and they would use footage from his old films.
Yeah.
Probably that one.
Yeah, The Bridget Remagen. That was a good film. He was good. Do you remember a film in the really early 80s? I think it was the first. I think it was Denzel Washington's big breakthrough called Carbon Copy. Do you remember that? It was a film. It was about a bloke. George Segal had an affair with a black woman, and Denzel was the result of it. And so that's why they called it Carbon Copy, because he was like, you know, George's sort of son from another mother, shall we say.
Yeah.
Denzel's a good actor, isn't he? He's a really good actor. Hey, I watched that. I'll tell you what, when I was away, do you remember that Gladiator, the Russell Crowe one?
Yes.
Gladiators. You know, my name is Decimus Gluteus Maximus. You know, husband to a murdered wife,
husband to murdered wife, father to murdered son, and I will have my revenge, if not in this world, then in the next.
Well, they all know that. They had Gladiator 2, and Denzel's in that. It wasn't. It got. I think it got a bit of a panning, but I watched it when I was away. It was alright. I enjoyed it actually. I thought it was alright.
I've never seen Denzel be shit in anything.
No, he wasn't. He was really good. He was
even if everything else in it is shit. Yeah. Denzel isn't.
I thought he was mint in The Equalizer. You know, everybody's saying like, you know,
Yeah,
Robert McCall, like, you know. Do you remember the first Equalizer that he was in? One of the bits in that I absolutely howled out loud, and I don't think most of the other people got it because they were like younger, was the bit where he goes, hey, there he is, Robert, right? Yeah, Robert, come over here, because he's working in that warehouse, and they bring him over. He goes, yeah, before you were working here, you were a pimp, weren't you? He goes, no, I was a pip. He goes, what do you mean? I was a pip, you know, Gladys Knight and the Pips. Then he does all those dance moves like the, and I was fucking rolling. And you've got these fucking, you know, Gen Zs in the crowd going, why is the fat man laughing? You know, it's like, yeah, because you've fucking uneducated fuckers.
Because Denzel's doing the Pips.
Yeah, he's doing the Pips, exactly.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Denzel from Only Fools and Horses.
No, Denzel Washington's good. I like him. He's good in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah, I like Denzel Washington.
He's like
This is why when you have all these fucking, you know, bloody likes of Will Smith and that, when he didn't get the Oscar for Ali, and he was great in Ali, in fairness, he was really good in Ali, you know, the Ali biopic. And they're all moaning, saying, "Oh yeah, it's because, you know, the you know, white privilege, this, blah blah blah. That's why we don't win fucking Oscars." Like, well, be good enough. Sydney won one. Denzel's won one. You know, it's not that fucking hard. If you're good enough, Morgan's won one. You fucking, you know, just act better. You know, you fucker. Instead of moaning about how unfair shit is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, act better. You know. I mean, that film that year, that.
How many's Arnie won?
Huh?
How many has Arnold Schwarzenegger won?
None. Because that's not the kind of fucking acting that he does, is it? All right.
And who was
But
moaning?
it's still entertaining, though, isn't it? Oh, I tell you what I did see when I was away. I struggle to find any shit that's worth watching, you see, because... but when I was away, do you know what I saw? And I thought, oh, this is going to be shit. I thought, oh, do you want to watch it? No. You know, it's like, no. The Ricky Gervais, no. It's like, you know, do you want to? No. It's like, oh, fuck. And it was all right. You know RoboCop, you know, like proper 85 or 87 RoboCop, Paul Verhoeven with Peter Weller in it, wasn't it? He was the original RoboCop, wasn't he? I was going to say Paul Weller of the fucking the style.
Put down the weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
And yeah. Well, they did
have 15 seconds to comply. He's already put it down.
Well, they did a remake with a lad called Joel Kinnaman, right? And what's his face? Oh shit. Oh fuck. The bloke who was the bloke who was in the Dracula, the Bram Stoker Dracula. Oh, what's his name now? Gary? Is it Gary?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, yeah. He plays the scientist in it. So it's like a remake of the 1987 RoboCop, but like from about, I don't know how many, like, could be 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Really fucking good. I enjoyed it. Really good.
I like him as well, Gary Oldman. He's pretty good in everything.
Yeah, he
isn't he? I've never heard of that film. So I'll give that a look.
It's the remake of RoboCop. I don't know exactly when it is, but it's Gary Oldman, Joel Kinnaman, loads of others who you'd recognise. You know what I mean? But it was because when they said, "Oh yeah, do you want to watch the RoboCop?" I goes, "Oh yeah, I like RoboCop." Peter Weller and Karen Allen. Who are you talking about? RoboCop. You know, you have 20 seconds.
Yeah, that guy from Twin Peaks, wasn't it?
I remember that. Yeah. He played one of the henchmen, didn't he?
Yeah.
One of Clarence Bodica's henchmen, yeah, along with their toxic waste, as I call him. Yeah.
I remember absolutely loving it, but it was like 1986, 87, something like that, wasn't it?
87 was the original RoboCop.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I remember loving it, but I was like 16.
Yeah, that was me. I'll tell you what, that little period between sort of 86 and 89 was just meant for films, wasn't it? It was like you got RoboCop, Commando, Predator, Total Recall.
I was going to say Total Recall was about 89. That would have rounded
Yeah.
that era off.
Yeah, Basic Instinct, that was good
You
film
need
as well.
you need Jean-Claude Van Damme one in there.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Hard to Kill or Hard Target.
Yeah.
Oh, was
the
you
one
don't
he did?
forget there was like a million Vietnam films in that era as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket, Platoon.
An entire genre.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a book called The Fourth Valley, which is pretty much the book that Platoon's based on. Really excellent book.
Yeah. One of the best non-fictional books I've ever read, and I don't even know if it's still in print, was a book called Once a Warrior King by a fella called David Donovan. And I still to this day think it's one of the best non-fiction books, and it's set during the Vietnam War. And when you're expecting sort of, the sort of the Rambo and shit like that, it was just basically a tour of duty where they were interacting with the locals. And when they first got there, they were told to sort of ingratiate themselves with the local hierarchy and all that lot. So they were invited to go and eat food and that with them. And they'd come from like hamburgers and fries, and they would now all of a sudden were eating properly cooked fish dishes with lots of spice and that. And they were like, fuck, what's all this shit? So they were making on like, oh yeah, this is lovely. And when they did finish that, and it wasn't, they went out and they saw a little bit of action, but it wasn't like, fucking Rambo and First Blood and all that shit. It was just how they were sort of on patrol and doing the normal things. And at the end, he said, when we got back to the States, when we got back to the States, we thought, the first thing we want is a burger. He said, like within 2 weeks, we were looking, we desperately wanted Vietnamese food. It was really fucking strange. It was the way it was told, because I'm pretty certain that David Donovan was a pen name. I don't think that was his real name, but it was real. They were down in the Mekong Delta where they were stationed, and it was just brilliant. I was captivated from the first page, literally, and it wasn't a work of fiction. It was just, the scrollings, the diary, if you like, of this bloke who was either a lieutenant or a captain in the United States Army, stationed out in some little tiny hamlet in Vietnam. And his experiences for a tour of duty for like 18 months or so. Really good.
I found a channel that has a whole load of oral histories of Vietnam veterans, where they get this person in and just tells your story, how you got inducted into the army, what it was like, the training, being there, all that sort of stuff. And I swear to the amount of them that the story starts off, well, I got into one too many fights and the sheriff brought me down, and I was in the office, and he says, and there was another guy there in a suit and tie, and they said, he's got paperwork for you joining the army, and I've got paperwork that's going to send you to jail for 3 years. Which one do you want to fill in?
Yeah.
And off they go. And people speeding offences, one too many speeding offence. This is going to be a problem for you, but here's this recruiter. You can fill in forms of him, and we'll say nothing more about that. I found it really interesting.
It was tantamount to press ganging, wasn't it, at the end of the day?
The King's get out of jail free card.
Yeah. But yeah, I tell you now, I don't know if it's online like as a PDF or something, but if you get a chance to read, hey, I tell you what, I did. I listen to audiobooks now, but the last one I listened to, which was absolutely mint, was it's called The Will of the Many. What a brilliant book! It's fictional, but what a brilliant book that is. The Will of the Many. His sequel's coming out in November. I can't wait for it to come out. It's probably one of the best books I've ever had. Brilliant. Oh, a gig in Skeggy. Skeggy's great. I love Skeggy. Hello, Al. Hope you're doing well, mate.
Mr. Packer was threatening to go and see your gig, by the way, but things didn't work out. But I hope everything all went well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great book, actually. I can't remember. Was it Adrian Tchaikovsky, I think was he the one who did it? I mean, I'll have to look it up now. It's remiss of me. The Will of the Many. Let's have a look. Who's it by? James Islington, that's the one. James Islington. Yeah. Great book, mate, honestly. Will of the Many. Oh, fucking brilliant. I'd tell you about it, but I'd spoil it. It's it's just brilliant. Do you like reading? I've not read a book, for ages, but I listened to them. This one was mint. I couldn't wait to finish it. It was just, and it's a long one as well. If you do it on the old audio book, it's like 26-hour audio book. It's fucking mint. Absolutely brilliant.
Emma got me a copy of Beowulf, and I'm starting to read that. That's what I'm starting to read at the moment.
Yeah. Is that a poem?
Well, it is, but it's written in Old English, and let's say it's a bit more complicated than I thought. But the book that the wonderful Emma G got me, it goes through the sections of the poem and explains it to you, translated, and what's going on with it. But yeah, it's a poem / story. You could call it a long poem or a story, but it's obviously mythical, but it gives you an insight into the way people thought at that time and their attitudes.
Yeah. No, it's good. Like I say, it's that was a good one, and there was another one.
Linda Hunter, that is that is a massive understatement. It's tricky. It's tricky reading the old paper. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's fuck. I read government policies with ease. I just glide through them, and Beowulf. A couple of lines are like, "What? I need some assistance here in understanding this."
Yeah. There was because the one I read before that was Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. That's a good book. And then a one before that, which was Hyperion, which is fucking weird. Good, but fucking weird. I mean, well read. But that Children of Time, honestly, get a chance to read that fucker. Not Children of Time, The Will of the Many. What a great book that is. That's fucking very clever, it's a little bit off the wall as well, but it's not off the wall in a sort of, oh, this is stupid. It's like, oh, I didn't expect that to be like that. You know what I mean? I didn't expect that. It's one of those, it's sort of, you just get sent little curveballs here and there, and you think, oh, I didn't expect that. It's really good. Yeah, can't wait for the next one. For November, though, when it comes out. because he's done the Will of the Many, and the next one is something like the fucking Solace of the Few, or it's the Few at the end instead of the Many. It'll be a trilogy probably, but if it's anything like the first bit, it's fucking mint. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
The only thing I will say is I would encourage everybody to get books and paper because I have a feeling that we're going to need them at some stage. It's amazing exactly. Whenever you read 1984 and you think about their ability, the requirement that they have to get all the old copies of everything back and change everything, whenever they've put the change the updated version that goes out to the public, whatever they've lost went into the memory hole, and you're thinking that would be impossible because everything's on paper. But it turns out whenever everything's digital, it's incredibly fucking easy. Because whenever you change it on the master, it changes it everywhere.
Yeah, so that's why you need, like, as best as possible, like, original copies of shit, you know. I had an idea for a book. This wasn't the main idea, but part of it was where this bloke had a set of original books that nobody else had, or one other person had, because they'd been bastardized by wokeisms. So the original, even though in the books themselves they were written as a set of children's books, basically.
I'll tell you how bad it is. You know the way I have been documenting English festivals for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll see in my show notes, I would say half of the links that I used for producing those videos, half of those links no longer work.
No, I bet they don't.
Yeah, that content has gone.
Because we all know who built Stonehenge, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, I find it hilarious.
Well,
what I find equally hilarious is that people keep coming up with theories that maybe we didn't all come out of Africa.
Well, here's
not as Homo sapiens anyway.
Why do you think the powers that be think that it would be possible to change the race and ethnicity of the people of Britain?
Why do they think it's possible?
Yeah, because they've already done it successfully. The Welsh are not Celts. The Scottish are not Celts, but the world believes that they are.
Oh right, yeah. No, the Scottish are the Irish, aren't they?
No,
the Scottish are what the Romans called Scots, and at that time they were in Ireland and Wales, or was it just Ireland?
Yeah, but the Celts hadn't even arrived at Ireland by that stage. No. Right, so the Scottish and the Welsh, they're Britons, but they've been transformed to Celtic, and nobody seems to mind that because the Britons and the Celts are the same skin colour. But changing the people that built Stonehenge from being Britons to being Celts, which is what's been done, is no bigger of a jump from them being Celts to being black. It's the same level of jump. It's just more noticeable because of the skin color.
It would just be more obvious to the general onlooker.
Yeah, it's more obvious to the general onlooker. It's it's the point at which the emperor has no clothes and people think, "Fuck, we've got to say something there." This has gone beyond the joke that it should have been.
No, I know the logic behind this. That's how they got that the altar stone from Wales.
Yeah,
they nicked it.
The stones in Stonehenge now come from Scotland, apparently. By the way,
yeah, they nicked them as well.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, all them stones had wheels on, but they sold them.
Yep. It definitely wasn't people from different parts of the island bringing their own bit to be part of this centralized fucking festival area. Definitely wasn't that. You know, a bunch of individual tribes that had all settled upon this area for having a yearly festival, and they all wanted part of their own land in it, and that definitely couldn't explain why you've got different
It wasn't
fucking
like a central thing or anything, was it?
no,
No,
definitely not.
no. It wasn't like a middle of an ancient society, should we say?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that.
Probably somewhere that people came on a twice yearly basis to meet other people and exchange trades, knowledge, and propagate, and maybe go off a different bunch of people than you arrived with. You know, it couldn't have been that. The fact that these stone circles are right across England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, the Orkneys, that isn't a sign that there was one indigenous, generally homogenous group, even if they did have the odd bickering.
The people.
Oh, and the other thing, and see the way all of our little monasteries and all were out in little islands out on their own. It's definitely not. It's definitely not a sign that we're people that just likes to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are generally quite happy to do our own thing, and you can do your thing over there. And our only problem is that we've got too many people that are not us coming in, and we don't have enough space of other there. And you don't even like it whenever we do our stuff in our bit.
We don't care what you do, just leave us alone. That kind of never left us, did it?
Oh no, never has. The other thing that I would say is that we all suffer from is the hedge clippers problem, in that if you come break into our shed to try to steal our hedge clippers, we'll fight you for them. But if you walk up in the middle of the afternoon and say, "Can I borrow your hedge clippers?" we'll willingly hand them to you. And a year and a half later, whenever they haven't came back again, we'll just buy fucking new hedge clippers, because it's less hassle than asking for our ones back.
Yeah, but like, don't ask us to borrow anything else.
Oh yeah.
Don't, because I'm just going to say, where's my fucking edge clippers? Or I'll swap you for my edge clippers, would be my response.
I lost the piano that way.
I'm kind of like that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But the English are weird. They're just weird. Like we're odd. We have gardens and hedges and things. Like,
that's to give you a nice little bit of space from the outside world and separate yours from.
Yeah, it's us from everyone else. Like we're weird. Like other people build front porches so they can sit on them and wave to their neighbours. Can you imagine? You fucking imagine that, sitting outside the front of your house and waving at your neighbours.
Yeah,
but your neighbours would just look at it like you're weird, wouldn't they?
It's a case of your neighbours over, right? What is it you need?
Yeah, like, well, what do you want?
Yeah, you want a cup of sugar? Here you go.
Sitting outside looking at the. It's an English thing. It's not just Americans. It's like Greeks do it. Like loads of places in New York, they sit outside the front and they end like in a community. It's a community thing. I'm not dissing it. It's just like a weird English thing that we don't. We've got a hedge. We've got a 6-foot hedge in the front gate. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll be behind that.
Yeah. Go on then, Sensum. What do you think? English oddities.
Right, another elephant. It's not that we accepted Celtic ways in our country. What they did somewhere around about 1810 to 1830, they greatly expanded the definition of Celtic. So things that were basically most of Europe, they decided was Celtic. Anybody that had a circle about them, that was Celtic, and they did that in order to take away our indigenous right to this land and our rights as indigenous people. Because whenever you say, I demand indigenous rights the same way as an African or an Indian or whatever, they'll go, but you're not indigenous to this country. And the reason why you're not indigenous is because you're a hodgepodge and you're Celtic, and there's Celts right across Europe, and you could be from anywhere. And that's why they were adamant about changing us from Britons to Celts. Also to create
It still doesn't work because, Maoris aren't from New Zealand then.
Oh, well, the other thing is, in that world, you would be thinking the biggest problem we have is, see the people that oppose us, they don't actually mean or believe anything that they say. And what they want to do is create problems that are not actually problems, that don't have a solution, and have us run about like fucking lunatics trying to solve them, and become offended by all the things that they say we should be offended by, but they're not offensive because you only made up the offense about 30 seconds ago. You said that. You made statement there, right? That's fine. Give us 10 seconds to figure out why that's offensive, and they'll figure something out, because whenever you don't have any truth, honesty, genuine rules behind anything, then you can make anything whatever you want. And yes, Sheila's Dr. That is correct. Anglo-Saxon and I did both.
I think that one of the reasons why we get lumped, why the English in particular get lumped in everybody else, is because there were very similar traits. But when you look at the Druids of the sort of, Jesus' time, when the Romans first popped over here during the reign of Claudius, we were very distinct. We were a distinct people. And we were far from being fucking idiots, even though, we were classed as the barbarians. The Romans would class us as the barbarians. But they feared us and the Germanic tribes more than anybody else, because we weren't fucking idiots. We didn't necessarily have the same military acumen which had been formed over 400 years of active battles, constant battles. But they disliked going up against us because we were erratic, not erratic, but unpredictable. We would do things that weren't, that when they've been fighting the Persians and the Thracians and all that lot, and the fucking Carthaginians, they become very familiar with this sort of Mediterranean way of warfare. Then they took on the Gauls, and they got a bit more sort of, this is a bit different. Then they went to Germania, and which is obviously Germany now, and it was these fuckers are not messing about. If you get caught by these countries, you're losing your head. They're not going to bargain with you. When they went over to Britons, they rocked up and they turned up, and it was we were very much like how we always are. We oh, this is a bit new, and they say all right, well, we're going to take over, and they said, oh, you are you? Yeah, well, we're not going to really be standing for that. And it was only like, so was it the second or third attempt that they actually managed to conquer, what they called Britannia at the time. They didn't get as far as Scotland, did they? Because they built Hadrian's Wall. But like, sort of the first sortie on Britain wasn't a great success. The second one, when they met the Icenians, that wasn't a great success.
Yeah, they did kind of give up and leave the first two times. It wasn't like they were like totally beaten, but I think they did have other reasons to leave the first time.
Well, firstly, because it was miserable, horrible, and they hated the fucking place. Basically, that's
I
what it was.
I don't think the last conquest was just quite as successful as they would make out, and they were harried by roving bands of Scotty, Pict, and Saxon and Welshmen working together in ambushes for quite a few years prior to them deciding might be time to leave.
Yeah, and like even when they did conquer, they still had a very hard time of actually doing that and come up against a lot of resistance and a lot of battles that they didn't all win all of. And eventually just went, yeah, fuck it, we're building the wall.
Yeah. Well, I've got some. It's in the kitchen there now. It's called Celtic salt, and apparently it's really good for you because it has all of the active minerals that make salt quite good for you. So it's not expensive. You can put it in your bath, get like a proper salt bath, and it's edible, but you only use like a little bit of it because it is unpurified salt, so it still has like the magnesium and zinc elements to it, which is they are the catalysts that make the salt part, the sodium part, work properly with your body. So you're not just taking in the sodium part. And because it's called Celtic salt, loads of people think, oh yeah, that must be Irish, and it's not. It's from fucking Normandy. It's not nothing to do with
the actual place of the Celts.
Yeah, it's Normandy.
Yeah. And yes, Anglo, you're right. The Normans are Celts.
Yeah, they are. The Normans are the Celts. Yeah. So Celtic salt comes from Normandy because they were the original Celts. I suppose the only other sort of peoples, if you like, purely because of the cross-pollination, that could be sort of remotely considered Celt through intermingling would be the Corns. The Cornish people.
Yep.
Pretty much. So, because the Corns always wanted to be a separate entity, because I can remember one of my history teachers telling us there was like, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the Corns. And I goes, well, why is that then? And he goes, well, because back in the day, they were their own thing.
Something about scones and pasties, wasn't it? I can't remember that.
Yeah, it was how you put your jam on, cream or jam first.
Yeah, cream or jam first, and then like they just went, no, we're leaving.
Yeah.
It's a bit like America, where it's very important to them, but we don't actually give it. But yeah, that happened.
Well, that's also come up in 2.5 hours. I think we'll call that a wrap.
Hokey cokey.
And before saying anything else, Sansom and Mr. Paca, thank you very much. It has been an absolute pleasure having the both of you here tonight, and I have really enjoyed this.
Great stuff, mate. Yeah, always a pleasure. I always like to try and catch the end of the month stream if I can. And like I say, you've got, you've had what was on 8 o'clock. So what is it now? 1.
Yeah.
What's that? 5 hours. I can't remember. I'm shit. 5 hours of me today, and you're going to get a couple hours of us tomorrow with Rags and Jack, if you can fucking bear it. Over on Ragnar Iron Spears channel, give Rags a sub and a like when you get there.
There's a fair chance I'll turn up for 2.5 hours somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah. And Brad James does have a very good poem about the scone subject in the jam and the cream. I'll give it a plug.
I can't remember which way round it was. If it was Devon who did the jam and then the cream, or vice versa. But I have to say, personally, and I could be disappointing a lot of people here, but for me, it's always cream first, then the jam.
Oh, how much?
Well, you see, the thing is, I see it like butter. You see, if I'm doing jam on toast or marmalade on toast, I always put the butter on my bread first, then I put the jam on the top. If I'm having cream and jam, I'm putting the cream on first, and then putting the jam on the top. Just makes fucking sense. You know what I mean? That's my name, common sense.
Cream is nearly
So-
the butter in it. It's almost the same.
Yeah.
Neil Benjamin, he loves the
He does
cream.
love the cream, yeah.
So does Neil Starmer. Anyway, hey, we won't go there. We won't go there. Ukrainian cream. No.
Oh, fuck.
Salty cream. That's salty. No. We won't go there. No.
The head basket of the world.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's how that man is our Prime Minister, I do not know. And it shows you how far the standards have slipped. And Boris Johnson has a lot to do with this, by the way, because
Yes.
Boris Johnson was our first Prime Minister that turned out to be not Protestant and therefore broke the convention between the people of the country and the royal family, that the country would be a Protestant country and have a Protestant king and therefore a Protestant Prime Minister. Boris Johnson went in being very ambiguous and then got married in a chapel, and now we've got a fucking Sikh as our Prime Minister, and it's disgusting. We need Oliver Cromwell back.
Holly, yeah. Apart from that one faux pas that he did do, but apart from that, he was pretty solid, wasn't he? You know what I mean?
Well, there's a little island. There's a little island in the Bristol Channel called Lundy Island, which was home to Barbary parrots. Just fucking sat there in the Bristol Channel, and the king ignored all that. And whenever Ollie got the job, he sent the navy in to round up as many as they could, and they brought them back to Bristol, and they drowned them in the tide. That's my type of leader.
Yeah. We just don't need the usury part though. That's the If we could have all of that.
Well, here's the thing.
But without the coin clipping, you know.
Yeah, well, he did allow a certain type of people to reside here. However, he did
merchants, we call them. It's code. Yeah, merchants.
But he did not allow them to hold any position of power. Because to have any position of power, you had to be a white Protestant.
Yeah, well, that's shot the bolt, isn't it?
Yeah. That's where we began to go wrong.
Yeah,
because
that's when do you see that youth going around today on one of the videos today where he goes around to the place in Britain where it has the least amount of bloody English speaking people in the country, and he's like literally walking down the street and he's saying like, "Oh, hello there, what's it like being no speak English?" "Oh, okay, mate. Excuse me, madam, would you no speak English?" It's like, yeah, well, you're a communicative bunch, aren't you? You know?
Yeah, it's what's it like living in the lowest English speaking part of the country.
Yeah.
To which they respond.
But if you point that out, you're the bad person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting thing. See if I got the job of running the country tomorrow. Yeah. My first order of business would be
drop the seats on all bikes.
No. My first order of business is English medium schools. I would create English medium schools, And seeing less English is your first language, you don't get in that school. And I would have a second tier of schools that were based solely on getting you to the required level of English and arithmetic. And our children who have English as a first language would be being educated separately without the anchor. And do you know what? Wales has got Welsh medium schools. Scotland has got Gaelic medium schools. Northern Ireland has got Irish medium schools. England, those other wankers, by creating their own fucking separate space for their pet project language, I would possibly take Scotland out of that. Wales is a pet project. Irish is a pet project. With their precedent, you should be able to have English medium schools where English is the only language spoken within that school. Because that's what the Welsh have got and that's what the Scots have got. Fucking slap it back up them and demand that.
Yeah, the problem is if you went to them and said, can we have English medium schools, they'd probably say, what, you mean like Doris Collins and Colin Fry? And they go, what? Yeah, okay. We'll do that. Yeah.
They just say you're being racist.
Oh no, but
racist.
You're not being racist. What you do is
I know you're not.
You present the legislation for the Scottish language schools or the Welsh language schools, and you just change one word.
Yeah.
And you go, here's the deal. Either give us this or get yours the fuck out.
Yeah.
And make them make a choice. And hold them to their same fucking standards for everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's a really fucking massive lever you have that's sitting there being unused. All you have to do is go see these Scottish medium schools, Welsh medium schools.
Unfortunately, we've got a fifth column government, unfortunately.
Yeah. We've got a wonderful tradition of a one-tier justice system in this country, which treats everyone equally.
Has 2 tiers.
I mean, just look at
Yeah. But we can make the robot fight itself.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Oh yeah, I saw a great thing about poisoning the AI well.
Yes.
About how you can insert metadata into things. You know, in YouTube, if you want to, it will add what's called auto captions. Yeah.
Yep.
So it will, if you want it to, it will try and interpret what's being said. Obviously, it's trying to interpret accents and everything as well. But it'll write a full
with me.
Music.
It doesn't matter. But it will write a transcript, allegedly a transcript of the dialogue that took place. And what you can actually go do is actually edit that dialogue. And what you can do is, if you know the formatting, you can put text that's like not visible on the screen, because you can say, yeah, pad this like sort of 48 miles to the right or to the left or whatever. So it's not occupying the visible space. So people are actually watching the text as it's reading through, and it looks like it's just being, the actual thing that's being said is being read out. But you're putting in a load of text in there, like, Keir Starmer likes to play the pink oboe, and, Tony Blair is a fucking shirt lifter and all that. But it's all off the side.
Yep.
And then what you can actually do is, if you do it on several videos or whatever, you can actually get a train of thought, and if it's a trending video, you can get it. You can get the AI to come up with stuff. So I think one of them was, something like, they trained. There was this famous channel or whatever, and they managed to poison the well by getting it to learn something like, I don't know what it was, but it was something like, Joe Biden loves fig rolls. Yeah. And the story was about, the fucking, war, armed conflict between Russia and the USA. Could it develop into a nuclear war? And because the people who had put this stuff together had used AI, and it sort of immediately went and started searching for all of the resources that was about Joe Biden and his stance on fucking war and that. It had picked up on several of these videos that were purposely transcribed to have this particular title, so that the AI would find them, and then it doesn't interpret the dialogue that's being said or the video. It looks at the transcript. If there's a transcript, it just looks at the transcript, consumes the transcript, and then regurgitates it back. So you would see, like, semi-legitimate articles, so basically clickbait sites that had put together, these little bots that go around farming for articles to do their own little news stories and make it look fresh and renewed. And it's like, Joe Biden, who likes fig rolls, he said, and it was just fucking really good, because you could see how they poisoned the well. And, you can do that in a myriad of other ways. And I think that we really need to start thinking about how we poison the well, so that the AI training comes up with complete and utter fucking gibberish. There was already a famous case, I think, I don't know if it was Walmart or, one of these big, like Costco or Walmart, one of these big conglomerate sort of, sales franchises. And somebody had brought a case against, I think it was Walmart, yeah. If it's not, I do apologise. I'm just using this as an example. And they brought this case against, a person had brought a case against Walmart. Well, the usual thing that Americans do is they don't say, oh, well, we'll see you in court or we'll try and buy out. What they do is they put in what's called a countersuit, because their whole plan is, we will outlast you because we've got a load of money, and you'll be skinned by the end of it. So, we are hoping that you'll just fuck off because you haven't got enough money to fight the case anymore, even though we're in the wrong, basically. So that's what they do. So, but when they filed the countersuit, the judge went through this, and this is by fucking Walmart, probably one of the richest companies in the world. The judge went through the articles that had been filed, and, several of the citations on cases
didn't exist.
They weren't even real. They weren't even real cases. They were like off films or something. But because the person in question, who had been using some fucking AI, the AI said, yeah, I need to find evidence of how we can combat this kind of case. And it was like, so, oh yeah, let's go and find out. But it wasn't just looking at sort of, legal literature. It was like looking at film sources. So it was picking up shit like The Rainmaker and shit like that. And
the witness said, you don't want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. So it was shit like that. And the judge, because the thing is, the judge must have been a good one, because 99 times countersuits come in and the judges just say, yeah, what the fuck ever, because they see that many of them. But this judge, this good judge, well, I say good judge, that's an oxymoron. This judge who took his job seriously, read through the litigation and went, these fucking cases don't even exist. And so rang them up and said, what the fuck is this? I'm really sorry. It's a bit like, what's it, in Robocop? I'm so certain it's just a glitch. You call this a glitch? It's like 20 seconds to comply. And it was like, but the hell of it was, the judge allowed, instead of just filing for the fucking, the plaintiff saying, yeah, these cunts are fuckers, how much do you want? Like $500,000, fuck them, they can afford it. He said, this is just shit. Oh, yeah, there was a glitch in our system. And it was rudely been done through AI. you know. So they're paying. I wouldn't care. Walmart are paying their lawyers, you know, eye-watering amounts of money, and at the end of the day, they're just running fucking Chat GPT. I genuinely think because, you know, the creative arts
I'll just say
industries.
good. That's a good thing. Good.
Yeah, the creative arts industries. They're the ones that are going to take an absolute hammering. So, you know, film production, music production in particular, which I hold very dear to my heart. Artists, you know, people who are very creative, writing art and that, they're going to bear the brunt of this because, you know, it's going to be like this runaway train. And, you know, I genuinely think the more that we can poison the well, as far as AI, like, you know, especially the, you know, the ones where they're learning shit for free off, because like I say, they've produced YouTube, and, you know, this latest, is it Google Veo, VEO, Google Veo, yeah? It can actually produce properly done, like, live videos. It looks real. I mean, yeah, there's the odd glitch here and there, but other than that, it looks fucking real. And I'm like, you know, a lot of people, like, I've bought, in my time, I've bought a few music courses just for my own personal development, you know, my own personal gratification. So I'm learning stuff about music and that just for me. It's not a job. I'll never do it as a job. You know, it's not. It's just for me to know a little bit more. It's a hobby, so I enjoy doing it. And if I can do it a little bit better each time, more the thing. Well, all of these people, you know, and I'm talking about people who also do, you know, bachelor's degrees and masters of arts degrees. They're shitting themselves now because the people who would generally take on those, you know, several year courses, you know, whether it's masters in, you know, game music design or a masters in movie production, music production or whatever. If you can just type in a prompt and say, yeah, just do me a bit of this, you know, give me a John Williams vibe on this fucking, you know, 1980s style movie I'm doing. Bump, you've got this really legitimate bit of music. You've immediately rendered all but the sort of what you would call the AAA composers redundant. So John Williams is always going to have a job. Hans Zimmer's always going to have a job. You know, the people who are making movies now are always going to have a job. But what succeeds them, you know, it's probably going to be some form of fucking AI, which is horrible. And I think that if, you know, these production companies, particularly like Disney and that, who've been taking a kicking over the woke bullshit that they keep on wanting to propagate, although that seems to be coming to an end now, I genuinely think if they want to salvage what's left of their industries, whether it's music, whether it's, you know, film or television or whatever, they need to start saying that, you know, things like, this is one, you know, there's like zero AI used in this production. Because even though, yes, it's more costly from a top line perspective, you know, AI will do something in 5 minutes that will take a very gifted human creative 5 days. The thing is, if they start saying things like, you know, none of this was done using AI, I still think that there's still that fragment, even in the fucking Gen Zers, yeah? There's still that fragment there where they want stuff that's been produced by human beings and they don't want the artificialness of AI. And therefore, because as it stands now, everything's powered by AI. Have you noticed that? Get the new Chromebook powered by Gemini AI. Fuck off. Don't give a shit. You know, get the new Microsoft powered by, you know, whatever, it's Siri, not Siri, but whatever, Cortana AI. Amazon with Siri AI. Yeah, don't want any of that shit. So everything where it says now at the moment, powered by AI, as though that's a good thing. If people start making out, anything that's done by AI is shit. You know what I mean? Because you can't trust it. All of a sudden, overnight, all of those productions where they say, no AI was used in the following production, no AI was used in this music, or no AI this, it is 100%. Even though they're using electronic devices and that, it's authentically human. That's going to become I think that's going to become a big bargaining chip. I really do. Because I think that everybody's going to take a dim view on everything being AI. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, mate, sorry, we've hijacked this conversation a little bit longer than what you expected, but yeah.
Reminds me of the mini metro designed by computer, built by robots, stopped by paratroopers.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yes. There you go. No, right. Thank you all very much. I'm going to put up an outro. I'm going to do the Anglo-Saxon, I believe. Pekka, before you go, anything that you would like to say?
Yes, it's been wonderful to be here as always. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Mr. Sansom?
Yeah, mate, end of the month, it seems to come around quicker every time as I get older every day. But so and as always, Packer, mate, you're a fucking legend. Everybody knows you're a legend. And I'll be on tomorrow, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately for them, but unfortunately for everybody else. I will be on Rags and Jax's stream tomorrow at 7 o'clock, so find it in your heart to give Rags and Jack a sub and a like and a whatever else. But I'll be on there, fucking spouting bilge as usual. So catch everybody tomorrow, and God bless, mate. Thank you.
Excellent. And Sansom, next month, the end of the month, already booked in is Rich from RPW Media. So we've got that organised. We're getting a bit more organised. And coming up now should be the Anglo-Saxon. Hello, you're listening to 42's letter to the Anglo-Saxons. When you spread this message, you are the resistance. The Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon shook his head sharply, his hair dislodging droplets of sweat from the back of his neck, the produce of moving a carcass to the workbench. The sharpened blades and cleavers felt natural in his hand. The carcass divided to his will. The Anglo-Saxon's muscle memory was that of a warrior. His body was lost to the toil, but his mind wandered to memories that were not his own. An intruder startled the Anglo-Saxon. However, before him was not the meadows and glades of his ancestors, but a butcher's shop window. While politely serving the customer, the Anglo-Saxon mourned the loss of a kingdom he had never known, of the rituals and customs that were lost long before his grandparents were even born. Outside, the street was a bustle. He knew there were others like him, ones who carried the warrior's pride. Amongst them he would find the rightful place of an Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon.
It was not preached to the crowd, it was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. It was not suddenly bred, it will not swiftly abate. Through the chill years ahead, when the time shall count from the date that the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. When time shall count from the date the Anglo-Saxons began to hate.
Game over. Okay, everybody, Sanson's been Sanson, Pekka has been Pekka, I have been 42, and you lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Thank you, good night, God bless, see you all next week. I'm out of here, goodbye.